Is this thing on?
Are you ready, Matt?
You're listening to Box Office Bingers
with Matt Diaz and Ernesto Santos.
Good evening, folks. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Box Office Bingers.
And the only way that I know how to do it is to find you a bloody good dump.
He's my friend. I don't have friends. I got family.
I can do this all day.
You know, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Box Office Bingers. Ernesto, we are winding down the summer here. After the last two episodes, we covered some pretty big films, The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day. And things are winding down in the summer.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we've got like maybe one or two movies left. I think that this movie that we're reviewing this week is one of them. We are reviewing The End of Oak Street, starring Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor, Maisie Stella, Christian Convery, and Jordan Alexa Davis, written and directed by David Robert Mitchell, who also did It Follows and Under the Silver Lake. This is going to be an interesting review. I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are on this film.
Same here. Have you ever seen It Follows or Under the Silver Lake?
I don't believe I have.
So, what I find interesting about this director is that It Follows, it was like a very indie horror film that had a very unique approach to it. But it felt very like indie. And then Under the Silver Lake, I'm pretty sure stars Andrew Garfield. And it was more of a drama from what I remember. And I've seen both of these movies, and both of them have a very interesting aesthetic to it. I guess an interesting feel to it. And so, excuse me. So I find it very interesting that this director has now done like a horror movie, a drama movie, and now this is more kind of sort of an action movie in a way.
It's like an action adventure.
Yeah, adventure's not a bad word either, but yeah, I just feel like that he's like checking off genres off the list here.
Yeah,
I guess there's a little bit of horror in here. It's
I would say it's just more action than an actual horror. I mean, there are horrific things that happen in this movie. Yeah. There are also very funny things that happen in this movie.
That's fair. That is also fair.
So I feel like tonally it's, and we'll get into it, but tonally it's pretty consistent. But I was feeling more of the action family adventure vibe kind of throughout the entirety of the film.
Yeah, I can see that. But as always, we're going to be saving our spoiler review toward the end of the show. But we got a lot to talk about in between. Yeah. So we're going to dive right into our news. And this news is brought to you more or less basically by Disney D23 Expo 2026. For those unfamiliar, it's the ultimate Disney fan event that happened over the weekend during their entertainment showcase. Let me restart again. I just ran right through a period and I just like, what am I doing here? Let's start over. D23 Expo 2026, the ultimate Disney fan event, happened over the weekend. And during their entertainment showcase, they announced a bunch of new details, first looks, sneak peeks, and their upcoming projects across Walt Disney Studios, from Disney Animation, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars. And so we're going to be going over the highlights. And let's start with Marvel. And of course, they had to be the one to announce the biggest news of the week.
Of course.
From this event. Because they can't help themselves. Like, I'm Marvel. We got to be on top. So Kevin Feige took the stage to officially announce the first new members of Marvel Studios' X-Men coming to theaters May 5th, 2028, directed by Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier. And so there was a lot of speculation out there. Ernesto, do you mind going to the other image first? There was a lot of speculation out there on what Marvel was going to do during the D23 panel. There was like Comic-Con was not even about 3 weeks ago, and they made some announcements about Ghost Rider coming out and our new Black Panther. And a lot of people were speculating that during D23 they were going to announce the X-Men. And I was like, nah, they're probably gonna, announce some Disney Plus stuff. I was wrong.
No, but I think we talked about when we were talking Comic-Con in last week's episode when we did Spider-Man that that our speculation was that this information was going to drop during D23, and we had some speculations as to what cast was going to be announced.
Yeah, and some of them that were announced were right, and some were not, obviously. But here are the big announcements. And now Kevin Feige did say that this is just like the first wave of announcements as far as the casting for X-Men. They're still actively casting more members of the X-Men, but this is what they've already confirmed. And I guess they needed something to showcase during D23, so they said, why not? And so I think, to me, we officially got that poster there with the release date of 5/5/28. And as the first one, as we already know, we have Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. That character, and Sadie Sink was introduced in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So obviously that is just setting the seed for what's coming in the next 2 years. But then we also got Kit Connor as Cyclops, Samara Weaving as Emma Frost, Indy Neveready from Obsession as Rogue. This was a newcomer, Maya Bode. She's going to be playing Storm. Apparently she is from Broadway. Christopher Abbott as Professor X. And the big one is Adam Driver is joining the MCU as Mr. Sinister.
You could totally see it. I mean, you can see it in the photo, the kind of comparison photo you compiled here. You can totally see him as Mr. Sinister. And I think that, like, watching Mr. Sinister in X-Men 97, which we're going to talk about season 2 later, and like seeing how he is as a character, it makes sense. I think that's a great casting.
It's funny, a lot of people were already speculating like Adam Driver was going to be part of the MCU. A lot of people said Magneto for Adam Driver. And what's funny is that in the announcement during D23, Adam Driver couldn't be there, so he showed up in a video. And he's like, Kevin and I have been talking about the perfect role to be going there, and I'm going to be playing Magneto. And then like everyone's cheering, and you might have missed it, but then he goes, oh no, oh wait, I'm not playing Magneto. Oh, like he's talking to somebody off camera. And he goes, oh, okay. And then he goes, I'm playing. He didn't say Mr. Sinister. He said the character's name. I forgot his name. Something. Damn it.
I'll get it for you.
Yeah, it's the other name for Sinister. Let's see if it will pop up here. Nope. Man. Of course, oh, here we go. He is playing Nathaniel Milbury.
Essex.
Sorry?
Nathaniel Essex, because he has that company.
Essex. Well, it says they said Milbury. Nathaniel Milbury. I'm not sure if that's a specific Sinister. But yeah. At least that's what it says on the IMDb. Imdb. But yeah, also
because it's a common alias as him as Dr. Milbury, so technically both things can be true.
Both things can be true.
Milbury in various covers and identities over the years, including running an orphanage under the name where a young Scott Summers lived. And then he runs the Essex Corporation, which is a company organization with him in the comics.
Okay. And also looking into Christopher Abbott, who is now going to be our new Professor X. I'm not familiar with his work. I'm looking at it now. There's a few things I've seen him in, but not like a standout. I think the biggest standout right now that I can even think of is that he was in last year's Wolfman that nobody saw.
I didn't see
but
it.
I think he played the Wolfman. Also, he's credited as the Foreigner in Kraven the Hunter. So I don't remember that movie quite well, even though I know we've seen it, but I don't remember what character he played. And then he was apparently he was also in Poor Things, which I also don't remember him in that movie either. And then he's been in a couple of indie films and stuff like that. So it seems like as as we're looking into this casting here, they've grabbed a nice mix of like known and unknown characters, and then I think clearly that sometimes when with these actors, like you get that perfect role, and then all of a sudden they're going to blow up, and we're going to see them in everything.
Yeah, I've also seen online that a lot of these actors are all theater actors, which I think is just great. I think they need to know how to work well together in a massive ensemble. And I think Jake Schreier is the one to do it. I mean, he gave us that in Thunderbolts. He showed us how he can handle an ensemble. And I think that X-Men is so important that he's going to be able to do that. And I think the only other thing we're waiting for, at least for me, I'm waiting for Magneto and Wolverine. Who are those two going to be?
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
Given that this Xavier is young, I would assume that we're looking for a young Magneto to grow into the role.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to age him up. Let's see how old Christopher Abbott is. If that gives us anything. He was born in 86, so he's 40. So that's a fairly mid-age.
But he does look relatively young.
So that's a good like mid-age Xavier. So, but they could either age him up or age him down. I'm really curious though, even after watching like what we've known from the X-Men over the years, and also like Marvel Studios actively working on X-Men 97. Like, what type of X-Men are we diving into? Is this an origin story, which it definitely feels like it is? Is this an already established X-Men? Is Secret Wars, because this Secret Wars comes out in 2027, X-Men comes out in 2028. It's only going to be like 5 months apart, or 5-6 months apart between the two movies. So like, is that the events of Secret Wars going to determine this X-Men? Or is this going to be, there's a lot of possibilities with where this can go down. So I'm very curious, but clearly, like, obviously, like, I think Magneto has to be in this movie. I think that needs to be established. Wolverine's a big one. I'm curious now, even watching X-Men 97, like, do you have Nightcrawler in there? Do you throw in, who else? Beast? Is Beast in there? I feel like Beast is a big character to include in this. Yeah, there's a lot you can go down. But I think starting with Mr. Sinister is a good start, especially if you're grabbing Adam Driver to be running that vehicle.
Totally agree. I'm excited. This is actually a project I'm very much excited for.
Yeah, I like this cast. I think this is a nice collection of characters of known and unknown. We already got a glimpse of Sadie Sink and what she can do as Jean Grey. I feel like, if anything, she might be the focus of this movie, because we were already familiar with this character, to be an entryway to basically introduce all their other characters. And also, good for Indy Neveretti for like just killing an obsession and just landing this role as Rogue. She's having one hell of a year this year as well. And the guy who played the guy who was obsessed with her, I forgot his name. But he just landed a role in the new Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. So they're doing well at this point.
I would say so. I would say so.
I think they're doing all right. And then also Samara Weaving. We've been seeing her as a scream queen for years now in Ready Player One. Not Ready Player One, sorry. In Ready or Not. And she was in something else too.
Scream? No.
Yeah, she that's right. She was in Scream, yeah. She was in Scream, Eeny Meeny, which is a movie I recommended a few years back, or actually just last year. I just saw her in a movie called Over Your Dead Body with Jason Segel. Pretty solid. I think she's a great actress, and I mean, she's been killing it lately. So I think this is a great, huge role for her, and she's already posted on social media of like reading the comic and whatnot. Now this is officially announced, so I think this whole cast is pretty much jazzed up to like even Kit Connor. I just saw it yesterday. Like people were complaining that oh no, he's too skinny or whatever the case is for Kit Connor. And then I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but all of a sudden a photo surfaced of him doing his workout regimen, and he has like he's jacked already.
It's like, yeah,
So-
bitch, I'm gonna be Cyclops. I'm gonna start going. I have a reason to start going to the gym more now.
Yeah, no shit. Like they're giving me that Marvel workout. I'm definitely gonna get jacked.
Yeah, exactly.
Even watching The Bear, which we're going to be talking about later in the show as well. Will Poulter is
Still jacked.
he's still jacked. Come on, and Johnny is still jacked too in some of the movies he's been. He hasn't gained back the weight. They're like, fuck, I'm already here. Why go back?
I got that Marvel body.
I get that Marvel body. They taught me how to eat well and exercise. It's great.
I'm a superhero.
But yeah, really exciting to see the X-Men. Feels like it's finally taking shape. A project that we've been talking about for years since Marvel bought Fox of when the X-Men is coming out. We've been getting a little tease here and there, but I think what's great about this is definitely feels like they are taking their time with it, and there feels like they're doing it right.
Yeah, totally agree.
So outside of the X-Men announcement, we got also a little bit of details. We got our first trailer for Vision Quest coming to Disney Plus on October 14th. Saw the trailer, looks interesting. It's from the same creators of WandaVision and Agatha All Along. They're touting this as we're completing the trilogy of stories. So I don't know exactly what that means, but this trailer was very interesting. I'm very curious to see how this all turns out. This is coming October 14th. And then pretty much right when this ends, because I think this is going to have a weekly release like every other Disney Plus show, or at least the Disney Plus Marvel show. We're going to go right into Avengers Doomsday hitting theaters December 18th. And we also got another look into Avengers Doomsday. That trailer is also online. It was more Doom focused than the other trailer that was released a few weeks ago. I think this one they showcased at Comic-Con just for the fans in Hall H. So now I think that was the trailer that was released to the public at D23. We also now, and this wasn't announced at D23, but another announcement Marvel related. Then we also got our release date for Ghost Rider, and that will be hitting theaters July 28th, 2028. So what's interesting about that is that we did hear that Marvel is slowing down with movies.
Mhm.
So, however, in 2028, we're getting 3, which I find interesting.
Yeah, that's not slowing down.
That's not like, and for the last couple of years, like last year in 2025, we got 3 movies. We got Captain America: Brave New World. We got Thunderbolts. We got Fantastic Four. And then this year, technically from Marvel Studios, it's just Avengers Doomsday. But in partnership with Sony, we also got Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah.
And then next year, it's only Avengers Secret Wars in December of 2027. And then as we enter 2028, the first movie right off the bat after Avengers Secret Wars is X-Men, May 5th, 2028. Then that goes into Ghost Rider, which is July 28th, 2028. And then already announced back in Comic-Con, we have Black Panther 3 that's coming out in November of 2028. So that's like the next Marvel lineup. I don't think we know anything past that officially. We just know that Marvel has secured release dates. They'll probably until the end of time. But yeah, that's to me, that's a very exciting lineup. I like what we have on the horizon, even though I do feel like it's weird that because I thought X-Men was coming 2029, to be honest with you. But they're like, nah, we can do it early.
Nah. The interest is there. So let's make that money.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know. It makes sense. It makes sense. This is like they're fully in on their course correction from before. Like it felt like, everything pretty much after Fantastic Four has been like righting the wrong. I would actually even say Thunderbolts is kind of like righting the wrongs of what transpired before. And then now especially with how good Spider-Man did and what the great reception to Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, I think it just reinvigorates the love that people have for Marvel, and it just showcased that, people aren't fatigued with superhero stuff. They're just fatigued with shitty stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I think to your point, I have not seen a bad Marvel anything since Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of Thunderbolts. I really liked Fantastic Four. Obviously, Spider-Man: Brand New Day was a banger. And even the Disney Plus stuff that came out afterward too. I mean, we have Daredevil Born Again season 2 that was pretty solid. I think Agatha All Along maybe fell into that, and that was pretty good, surprisingly.
Punisher One Last Kill.
Punisher One Last Kill is a good one. We're about to talk about X-Men 97 season 2. A Vision Quest looks promising. So I think they're definitely doing a course correction here, and I think it's paying off. It definitely feels that way. But also, speaking of Avengers Doomsday, I want to quickly get off of D23 just for a moment. And we're going back into the topic of Doomsday. The shipping of Avengers Doomsday and Dune Part 3. Every couple of weeks, you feel like we're getting the drama thickens between the battle of these two movies coming out on the same day. And it definitely feels like Dune Part 3 is kind of folding a little bit because of what recently transpired. And so for those who aren't familiar, obviously Avengers Doomsday and Dune Part 3 are releasing on the same date, which is December 18th. Back a couple months ago, Marvel had pushed back the release date of Avengers Doomsday from May to December. That was sharing the same date as Dune Part 3. A lot of people thought that Dune Part 3 was going to move and Avenger was going to dominate. They decided to stick to their guns. And then there was this whole thing about Marvel and Marvel Studios not securing an IMAX screen because Dune Part 3 had already gotten there first because they had secured the release date. So then during some sort of panel, I think it was CinemaCon this year, they announced Infinity Vision. Like, you can see the best way to see a Marvel movie is an Infinity Vision. And basically all that means that any premium format that's not IMAX is Infinity Vision.
Yeah.
It's basically a gimmick just because it didn't get IMAX. And then Dune over here is like announcing their pre-sales, and we're like, come see it IMAX, bitches. Guess what you're not seeing Avengers in? You can see that in the better format over here.
Yeah.
And so that was been going on for a while. Then recently, a little movie called Spider-Man Brand New Day came out, and it was breaking all of the box office records. And Spider-Man similarly did that without IMAX screenings because the Odyssey had a 3-week exclusivity window. So the first 3 weeks of Odyssey release was they had IMAX exclusivity, and Spider-Man Brand New Day came out on the last week of their 3-week exclusivity. So when Spider-Man was breaking all the records, they did so without IMAX.
Yeah.
And so then that gave the fuel for Marvel to then release more tickets during D23. They're like, hey, here's another look at Doomsday, and here's your chance to get more pre-sale tickets because a lot of them were already sold out. So they opened up more screenings and also more dates and more times. So right now, because of that, Avengers Doomsday is tracking as of this moment to make nearly $100 million on Thursday previews alone. It's doing extremely well. And I think that's all in part, quite honestly, to the success of Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think everyone's all hyped up and they're like, this movie was amazing. Thank you, Marvel. What's next? Oh, Doomsday? Oh, hell yeah. We're going to go and buy our tickets like 4 months in advance, if not earlier, because that's how hyped we are. And Spider-Man Brand New Day already just recently broke the record for the most money made for a Thursday preview at $74 million. It beat the previous record holder, which was Avengers Endgame, at $60 million. Now people are saying, what do you call it? People who guess things. Critics, no, they're not critics, analysts. Analysts are saying that Avengers Doomsday is currently tracking to make $100 million on Thursday previews alone, and quite possibly making up to $400 million domestically opening weekend, which will also then beat what Spider-Man just did at 360. So
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's very possible, especially riding on the momentum of Spider-Man, which is, I mean, that's really where this final extra push is coming from, is seeing that,
100%.
we actually don't need your fucking IMAX.
Yes. So now there's a lot of money being poured. Not a lot of money. They're making a lot of money right now. A lot of attention is being like, oh my God, Avengers is going to be like the biggest movie ever. Avengers Doomsday. So now I think, going back to Dune's a little scared. I wouldn't say scared, but like, oh shit, Avengers is getting momentum. What are we going to do? So just yesterday, Dune Part 3 and Warner Brothers announced that you can now buy more IMAX screenings starting as early as December 14th, which the official release date is still December 18th. However, now you can buy tickets up to 4 days sooner to get more opportunity to see Dune Part 3 in IMAX. There was a whole thing on social media about come see Dune Part 3 in IMAX 70 millimeter at these specific locations, starting December 14th. And they're pushing IMAX tickets to just get ahead of what Avengers Doomsday is doing. So it definitely feels like Dune Part 3 folded, and now is technically releasing their movie 4 days early.
Yeah, and realistically, Doomsday is going to do that too because it releases on the 18th, but we'll get Thursday pre-sales. I've even seen some as early as like Wednesday, possibly Tuesday. So, I mean, it's fine. I think it's very obvious that Avengers is going to win whatever this box office battle is going to be. Because especially with how good Spider-Man did, I'm still really excited to go see Dune Part 3.
Yeah, I think, to me, in my opinion, just reading the writing on the wall, I think from the way beginning, Avengers was going to make more money than Dune, no matter what. There's way more popularity around Avengers and Marvel than there is about Dune Part 3. And I'm very excited for Dune Part 3. I didn't tell you this, Ernesto, and I'll talk about this later on to the show, specifically about my Odyssey IMAX 70 millimeter experience. But they gave us a preview. I wasn't expecting this. I believe it said in the beginning, it said, I forgot the exact wording, but basically it said, thank you, Christopher Nolan, for allowing me to do this. And it said Denis Villeneuve. And I was like, oh shit. So basically he's thanking Christopher Nolan to give us a sneak preview of Dune Part 3, specifically in IMAX 70 millimeter. And let me tell you, I was fucking blown away from the scene that they showed. I was like, I was already immersed in that seat, and I'm just literally sitting there just like, holy shit. Like it was, I wouldn't say it was like crazy, but I was like, when they stopped it, I was like, no, go back.
Give me more.
Forget the Odyssey. I want to see that. It looked really, really good. At least the build, it was like a build up to an action moment that we were getting. But then they cut away after the action was about to start. So I really want to see what happened after that. And so one hell of a tease into Dune Part 3. And I think both movies, honestly, are going to be great. I think this is one hell of a way to end out 2026. And the fact that Dune Part 3 is probably doing the smart thing, giving people early access so they don't have to, Dune Part 3 is already a 2.5 hour movie. Avengers Doomsday is probably be closer to a 3-hour movie. Like, giving people access to flood the theaters a whole week, basically, of people going in and out to see Dune Part 3 and Avengers. I will be curious too, because technically, since that movie's being released on the 14th, in select showings and IMAX or whatever, I'm curious what the actual number is going to be at the end of the day to make themselves look a little bit better. Because if Avengers all the way over here, by Dune releasing a couple days earlier, we're like, well, we're like here. We're not like over here, but we're kind of there. We also cracked 100 million. Hey, how's it going?
It's like, opening 4 days earlier.
Yeah. But either way, as we always say, this is great for the movie theater experience.
Yeah.
Like, clearly people are hyped up to go to the movies again, to see great movies, movies worth seeing on the big screen. People getting excited for this. I'm really excited for this. It definitely feels like if there was any year, I know we said this before, but 2026, more than any other year since the pandemic, feels like movies are back.
Yeah, I think what really kicked that off was the start of the summer blockbuster season with Obsession and Backrooms. Like we had such strong openings with original properties that it just made the summer season feel that much better.
Yeah, I would even argue that like Project Hail Mary was a good part of that as well. A lot of people were going to see that movie and they were talking about it. I think that was like the first real big blockbuster this year. And then since then, like, like I think Obsession and Backrooms for sure was like huge movies that came out of nowhere. And now they're making stars, clearly.
Yeah.
Out of this.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the Doomsday of it all is just very fascinating to me. And if the drama continues, we'll talk about it. But yeah, so if for those who want to see Doom Part 3 a little early, go online. Tickets are on sale starting December 14th. But I guess if you're looking for tickets for Avengers Doomsday, I don't know, it might be hard, I guess.
Good luck.
Good luck. All right, let's go back to D23 and some other news outside of Marvel.
All right, so moving on to Pixar. In spring 2028, Pixar will release its first supernatural movie titled Ghost Market. It follows a teenager named Kyle, and when he is on a vacation with his family in Hawaii, he stumbles upon a mysterious hidden market in the middle of nowhere and discovers the crossroads between the living and the dead. Cool.
Yeah. Cool. It's weird to say that this is like their first supernatural movie. I feel like Pixar has done so much over, obviously it's 40 years of a company, and I can't I was like, wait, what? We've done ghosts,
yes.
Right?
Coco.
I guess
literally Coco.
They're not ghosts though. They're just dead.
Matt, what do we call dead people that we can still see? We call them ghosts.
The kid from, I guess Miguel, I think it's Miguel his name. He went into the dead. They didn't come, like the ghost is what the living see. But he was in their world, so they were just dead.
But he was technically alive. They had to paint him to make him into a skeleton.
Yeah, but like in their world, not. I guess it's semantic at this point.
Yes, it is. Okay, maybe like the first time they're actually like doing ghosts, and I guess since they consider Coco a totally separate thing, which is whatever. Yeah. I think it's like you said. I think it's semantics, but it's fine. I think it's cool to see whatever's going to come out of this. But speaking of Coco, it's coming out November 21st, 2029, with the original directors returning, and will take place a few years after the first film, with Ernesto de la Cruz returning for revenge.
Yeah, and also looking at the concept art here, he looks a little older. Clearly, it says a few years after the first movie, but
yeah,
I remember it's so funny that when we see like certain like characters, like when they announce a sequel like Coco 2, and all of a sudden they show you like a concept art like this one, and you're like, whoa, they aged him.
It's like, ooh, Miguel got that fresh cut. Grew a little couple inches.
Looking fresh over there, Miguel. Yeah. Look at you. This movie's not coming out till like we're got 3 years away, more than 3 years away before we see anything of Coco 2. I'm excited. I think this could be good.
They got time to make it good. So
they got time.
Looking forward to it.
They got time.
Also, which I'm really looking forward to, is Incredibles 3, coming June 16, 2028, with the main story now focusing on the kids. So I think after all this time, what I would assume is that the parents are aged out. Dad, kind of very similar to the first one, probably still wants to be a superhero, but he's actually too old to do it now and probably has to rely on his kids. So given the same thing we were looking at Miguel and Coco, like, are we going to see the kids now aged up as like teenagers / adults?
From what I heard, at least when they were talking about the D23, it only seems like maybe a year or so after the events of the second one, if not shorter. I know they're not aging them too much because I'm pretty sure that Incredibles 1 and 2 is only like 6 months apart, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's not that much of a difference. And I think from Incredibles 2 to 3 is a very similar time span, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But either way, you can make an Incredibles movie every year. I think out of all of the Pixar stories and franchises that they have, like The Incredibles is to me is the only one that can be like, yeah, you can make another one. That's great. I love these movies. I think it's very fitting to just keep going with this story. I mean, and the argument can stand, obviously they've made 5 Toy Stories, they've made 3 Cars and stuff like that. But like the Car story, you can probably, continue that until it dies. I mean, clearly they're doing that with Toy Story at the moment. So like they're going to continue, going through that franchise. And they definitely did better with Toy Story 5. And, we talked about that a few weeks ago. But Incredibles 3, I'm hyped, man.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that. I think I forgot they said something about the villain. They said this is like the most powerful villain they ever faced, and now because they said the first movie focused on the dad, the second movie focused on the mom, and now the third movie focusing on the kids. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. I think Jack is still a baby, so again, we're not going too far into this timeline. But yeah, exciting stuff from Pixar. Moving over to Walt Disney Animation, to no surprise, Zootopia season. Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you. I just don't have I don't have a graphic for it.
You don't have a graphic for it?
No, I checked. You didn't send me one.
I sent you a graphic.
Not for this one.
Yes, I did.
Matthew.
Is it not there?
It's definitely not. I actually just looked before, right as we were going into this part of the segment.
No way.
Like, did I forget something? And guess what?
It should look like this. Should look like this.
I definitely don't have that.
You don't have that?
No.
Too late to send it to you. All right.
Yes, it is. It's too late to send it to me. What you can do is just hold it up to the camera.
Just hold the phone.
I promise you, I don't.
You just kept shaking your head. I was like, we still good?
I saw you looking, going, "Where's the graphic? Where's the graphic, Matt Ernesto?"
Yeah, there it is. Graphic looks like this.
You can try to send me. I can drop it in here real quick.
Yeah. We're gonna put the show on pause.
I mean, we are, but I guess we technically aren't. But
this is staying in.
Oh, it is. It's fine. We roll with the punches here.
We do. Shit. And I could just continue moving forward and just keep talking, but no, damn it. With the graphic, I'll wait.
Don't worry.
All right, I'll still
just keep going. I just give me 10 seconds.
All right, from Walt Disney Animation, Zootopia 3 is officially in the works, and the world of Zootopia is about to go to the birds, as teased at the end of Zootopia 2. Hey, look at it!
Hey,
there it is. Oh shit, that's so funny. Yes, Zootopia 3.
Matt's time.
It's so good. It's so good. Okay, as teased at the end of Zootopia 2, we got teased that looks like we're focusing on feathered animals and flight and birds and whatever. And so it seems like that tease is now coming in the form of Zootopia 3. No surprise, this movie's getting made because the last one made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
So
no surprise.
Surprise. I wasn't a huge fan of Zootopia 2.
I liked it.
I don't know if 3 is going to give me what I'm looking for either, but I'm still going to watch it. On top of that, a new film titled Clay is in the works from Disney Animation. Karen Culkin voices Flip, the world's worst mentor, who is tasked with mentoring a young ball of clay named Mushi, and that is coming to theaters in 2028. Love to see new original projects coming from Walt Disney Animation. Looks fun. Looks interesting. I think they said there's going to be interesting concept. They said they're going to be using some 2D animation in this as well. So that's always good to hear. But yeah, I'm interested in this concept anyway. Definitely to see a trailer, obviously. It was also announced that Walter Goggins and Jodie Foster joins the cast of Hex alongside Haley Steinfeld and Rashida Jones, coming to theaters this November. And Frozen 3 is officially coming to theaters next November in 2027. And it follows Anna and Kristoff are getting married, and Olaf, has a love interest and maybe named Samantha. Unsure. They weren't sure. They kind of teased that. But they definitely showed a lady snowman, and so we'll see how that works out. We weren't giving much story details, but we just know that there is a wedding that's going to happen, and Olaf has some sort of love interest. But I feel like we've been talking about Frozen 3 for quite a while.
Yeah.
And obviously it takes a long time to animate a movie. But yeah, clearly they are, we're getting this next year, which I felt like it was in 2028 that we were getting this, but nope, Disney needs something to put out in 2027 as well. So yeah, that is a little updates coming from Walt Disney Animation. We also got not much news coming out of Star Wars, but we did get something. We did get our first official trailer from Ahsoka season 2, which is officially hitting Disney Plus January 20th. This has been a long wait for Star Wars fans. They've been taking their time with this season. And I was even surprised they're pushing it in 2027. I was like, damn, that was 3 years ago. We got this.
I never even watched the first season. I know you watched it.
Yeah, it's solid, but like, damn, I forgot everything. It's like you want me to remember this. Yeah, I do feel like, on a side note, that like 3 years between seasons is a long time.
It's a little on the too long side.
Yeah, it's like you have to, like, are people still like, you almost forget about it. Like, are people still invested into the story if it takes you 3 years to make it? And then it's like, hey, you know what? That was good. Like, even like, for example, like the House of the Dragon, like it's every 2 years since 2022. And so now the next season, we're not going to get until 2028. And then I got to like watch another recap and be like, remember this? No, that was 2 years ago.
I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, who are you? But so Ahsoka season 2 coming out next year in January. And then we got a full cast announcement from Star Wars Starfighter, directed by Sean Levy, coming to theaters May 28th, 2027, which will be the next Star Wars movie coming to theaters. Alongside Ryan Gosling. We have the film will also star Amy Adams, Aaron Pierre, Matt Smith, Maya Goff, and newcomer Flynn Gray. And it's funny because Lucasfilm posted this photo here that we're showing on our YouTube and Spotify channel page.
Yes.
Yeah. This was a fan art from the convention. I guess they introduced like the jacket that Ryan Gosling's character is going to be wearing, and then there was a fan art about this, and then they posted it and they credited the artist. So kind of cool. But yeah, not much coming out of Star Wars. And then there's also from Disney live action, Angel was confirmed for the live action Lilo and Stitch 2 movie coming to theaters May of 2028. Angel, also known as Experiment 624, is a major character in the Lilo and Stitch franchise and Stitch's love interest. So we talked about how Chris Sanders is going to continue the Stitch story. Clearly, we have our first tease of that coming in 2028. And then lastly, from the D23 D23 Expo the entertainment showcase. This is specifically coming to Disney Plus. We have an Oswald series coming to Disney Plus in February 2027 as a 3-part miniseries. This is going to be from creator and director Jon Favreau. They showed a tease of this, and it looks incredible. This is definitely made with love and for the hardcore Disney fans who are familiar with the character of Oswald. And it definitely feels like they're going to have a lot of fun with this. I don't think the character speaks. All of this is in 2D animation, and it looks gorgeous. Even from the concept art we see here, or at least like a snippet from it, it looks fantastic. I'm very excited for this. I hope they're just not short 3 episodes. I hope they're like at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because this looks really, really cool. And then probably something that no one was expecting, and I think this got a big surprise from everybody, is that an original Kingdom Hearts anime series inspired by the beloved video game franchise is coming soon to Disney Plus. That's pretty big, in my opinion.
Yeah, I fucking love Kingdom Hearts. I mean, I grew up playing the first 2 original games. I didn't get a chance to play the third one just because, I have children and other responsibilities, but I'm totally down for a Kingdom Hearts series. I think Kingdom Hearts is just such a great series that's kind of like in conjunction with it's like basically like Final Fantasy and Disney kind of merged together. So
Yeah, I think also in that same vein, they also announced a Kingdom Hearts 4 that will feature the characters of Coco as well. So I think that's pretty interesting. I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, but the world always seems fascinated to me.
you would like it. You can put it
I
on
think
easy. You can put it on easy mode, Matt, and
I
you
love
can just
easy
blow
mode.
through it. I mean, the story. I mean, especially on the first one, the story is so good. I am curious what they're gonna do with Kyrie's character because she was voiced by
Mm,
Hayden Panettiere, who unfortunately
mm.
just passed away recently. So I'm not sure what her involvement with if she was able to voice anything previously or if they're just going to replace her. But that's like my one question going into that project.
I'm also curious of how they're going to be dealing with like I know it's their own IPs, but I feel like a lot of what's predicated on the Kingdom Hearts franchise is the characters they put in it. And that makes it somewhat special and fun to play. So I'm curious that in
Yeah,
an anime series, what characters they decide to put into this.
yeah, you got
Because like,
Haley Joel Osment as the main character. He's Sora.
yeah, like, do you? I mean, I guess you can go as far as including the at least Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Goofy. Like those are feel like
Well,
prominent characters into
well,
this.
yeah, Donald and Goofy have to be in it because they're basically Sora's entourage.
Yeah. So it's curious how they move forward with this. But and then also to your point, as far as a voice cast, like, do you take the characters? Do you take the voice actors from the game, or do you just do a whole new cast after that?
I think they should.
Uh,
You should get the voice cast from the game. I mean, that's the
would
only way
make
to really.
sense.
Yeah, it would the only way to do it justice.
Um, but yeah, I mean, good stuff coming from Disney all around. I don't think there's really a bad project in the bunch that has you worried a little bit. But yeah, nothing huge except for Marvel announcing the X-Men cast. Everything else has been kind of updates of stuff we've already known that was in the works before. But yeah, that's kind of the big highlights from the D23 Experience Expo or the Entertainment Expo showcase. Whatever, you get the idea.
Yeah, I think this is very sad news. So we're talking about
Yes.
DC now. Two previously announced TV projects are being put on hold at DC Studios. Variety has confirmed that both Amanda Waller standalone series with Viola Davis and Paradise Lost, which would serve as a prequel to Wonder Woman, are no longer in active development. This is now the third project this month to be announced that's no longer in active development from DC Studios after Booster Goldrider said that his show was no longer moving forward. But I think we've seen this. We've talked about it.
Mhm.
DC, Warner Brothers, especially with the merger that they have going on. A lot of what's happening is kind of all up in the air, and I think we don't know what's going to happen post merger, whatever end up happening in the end.
Yeah, I don't know if this has anything to do with the merger. I feel like it's not a coincidence
No, I don't think so.
that this is happening. It is sad that now 3 DC projects that were announced back in 2022 and 2023 are just not, getting any traction. Especially for was it the Paradise Lost series. I always felt like it was a little strange to do a Waller series. I feel like that is gone. I guess I guess in turn we could be focusing on bigger stories. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if this was already in active development when James Gunn was still, making content. I mean, he still is, but like before he was, in charge of DC Studios, I know there's other projects in the works and the one that he wanted to move forward. I know that originally there was tease for Amanda Waller, especially if you can get Viola Davis to come back. But I feel like that type of error, that Peacemaker, Suicide Squad, I feel like we're moving past that. And the only reason why it's still hanging around because James Gunn has an affiliation with it. But I personally feel like it should be dead, or not dead, but like just taper off. Like, we don't need to put that in the focus anymore. And what I also find interesting is that DC as a whole I saw a comment online that had me really thinking about this as as an idea, and it was like, why are we focusing on the Jimmy Olsen series when you have a large library of characters that you can go off of, like like that you can use that you're just either not choosing to use or not choosing to move forward. We also learned a couple months ago that even the Authority, James Gunn had announced, like him personally, that it's no longer an active development. He said the Authority was a hard one to kind of nail down. So that's technically four projects that were announced back in 2023, and the Waller series was announced in 2022. That clearly are not going anywhere. And now we only have a select few projects left that James Gunn has even announced that were from that initial slate that are moving, are projects that are moving forward. Like his Gods and Monsters like saga, I feel like that's gone now.
Yeah,
There's no
I
way that's
totally
moving
agree.
forward.
I totally agree. Like he put this whole big emphasis on like gods and monsters and like what the different phases are going to be and creature commandos and it seemed like he had a clear vision, but I honestly and truly I think that he did, but I think that with everything that's happening at WB has put like everything up in the air and they're only pushing through sure things until they know what's going to happen on the other end. And obviously I don't really know anything, but that's my general consensus based on everything that's happening. Things are getting cut, but then we're getting things pushed through that seems like they'll be sure things. Superman, Man of Tomorrow, Clayface, Jimmy Olsen, like these lanterns, like these seem like things that like are more safe bets than they are gambles. Whereas something like The Authority or Amanda Waller, or the Booster Gold are more like not as sure, not sure enough for them to be willing to invest whatever money is going to be involved for these projects.
And I think that's fair. I think as of right now, as far as Warner Brothers is concerned, they do need sure things. They need to invoke confidence in your fan base again.
Correct.
That's what they should be doing. And right now, we don't have a lot of projects at this moment to show for it. Granted, they are just restarting their whole thing. We got it was Creature Commandos, it was Superman, and it was Peacemaker season 2 was all done by James Gunn trying to kickstart his new DC vision. And then since then, we've had Superman that now I'm just looking at the box office right now, collected $618 million worldwide. Pretty solid, but up against a $225 million budget, you made a small profit there. Then the next big movie you put out is Supergirl. And that didn't really make waves either. That currently sat at $126.3 million worldwide. That is not great for the amount of time and effort they probably put into that. And so that's already not looking great for the DCU right now. Right now, we also have the Lantern series that just kicked off. It just premiered this past week. So we're going to be talking about that show as it comes out. There was a lot of controversy already within the first episode. I don't know what happened, but I've been seeing people have either they love it or they hate it. They did something, and that already divided fans from the first episode. For better or for worse. And Lanterns, to me, it's a big show. That's a big character. That's a big one to hopefully you can nail down because you need a win here. And then Clayface wasn't even part of his initial slate. He just saw a good script and ran with it. So hopefully that could at least ignite something in the DCU if this feels like a unique project that's going on. And then in the horizon, you have Man of Tomorrow, again, spearheaded by James Gunn. And that looks also promising. But right now, the studio wants dollars. They don't care about what is or looks good. And then way down the horizon, you have Batman Part 2 that's now coming in 2028. So, and then we also know that there is a Robin hybrid live action animated series that's in the works, and then other projects down the line. I think, I don't know. I feel like that, unfortunately, and I think a lot of people are now looking at DC because they're like, hey, Marvel's doing great. How you doing over there, DC? Ooh, I see. All right.
Yeah, tables have kind of turned when Superman Man of Tomorrow. I mean, even I was saying it, like, this seems like Marvel's done. Like it didn't seem like, but this is also when they were in the middle of putting out really shitty movies, like
yes,
like Ant-Man 3, Quantumania was just absolute trash. Like Brave New World was not better. So it was then. It seemed like, well, it doesn't seem like Marvel's going to come back. But now that we were talking about earlier with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, and especially Spider-Man Brand New Day, that Marvel seems to have corrected their errors. But now DC is looking like, well, they're still in that building phase. Like they're still in the beginning of whatever it is they're going to build. So they can come back. They can come back. I just think they need to just let some of these other projects be pushed through. And I'm actually not, I did hear about the whole thing with Lanterns in the first episode, and I'm not too worried about it because that's Damon Lindelof. If you ever seen The Leftovers, like this man knows what he's doing. He knows how to create great TV. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about whatever is happening on Lanterns. I think I might wait until more episodes drop. Yeah. Or I'm not sure if it warrants, those who have seen it can let me know if it warrants a week to week, which it might, because his content usually does. Like his shows, like every episode leaves you like thinking and pondering and like so I'm wondering if Lanterns is going to be able to give us that too.
Yeah, I'm very much as far as whatever the discourse is, because superhero nerds would be superhero nerding. Like they be complaining about everything. They love the stuff they love, they hate the stuff they hate. So like, and then you deviate any sort of bit because they have a certain expectation, they go off. And so I agree with you. I'm not worried about the show. It is Damon Lindelof. I mean, everything about it just looks really, really good. And I haven't seen the first episode yet, but I'm looking forward to diving into the series. And me personally, this show needs to be a hit.
Yeah.
It needs to create conversations. People need to be talking about it for DC to get at least a little leverage back on top, at least like on the good side after Supergirl. And then Clayface just needs to be the movie that are like, oh, okay, DC can do different projects and it's cool. It needs to be that right now.
Yeah.
Because if people don't like Lanterns and people don't like Clayface, then Man of Tomorrow is going to have an uphill battle of getting fans back on board with DC.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Because then you're going to look over there and be like, all right, what's James Gunn doing? And especially if you weren't a fan of his first Superman movie, then you're really not going to care for Man of Tomorrow.
True.
Especially if the other projects are just not landing. But yeah, I think just personally moving forward, some of these projects, sure, I would have loved to seen. I definitely feel like at this point we need to get out of the Superman world and we need to start working on projects of characters that people actually want to see. Like, focus on your new Wonder Woman, focus on your new Batman, focus on big characters that will drive people to the theater. Then after you get people there, then you can focus on your smaller characters and stuff like that. But you gotta start, giving out your heavy hitters just so people can go into theaters just to see what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But yeah, we're rooting for you, DC. We're rooting for you.
We would like for this to happen.
Yes. Because you're right. The tables have turned, because there was a point where like DC is going to be our savior because Marvel ain't doing it. And then Marvel's like, hey, hold on. We still got some fire. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Slow down.
Hey, just give us time. You're gonna love the Spider Kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that is all the entertainment news we have for you guys this week. As always, you can follow us on our social media channels, on Facebook at Box Office Bingers, and our threads and Instagram Instagram page at boxoffice_bingers. We'll post all the news over there first, and then we'll come back on the show and we'll talk about it. So with that, we're going to be diving into a fun segment we like to call Whatcha Watchin. So Ernesto, we'll start with you. What have you been watching?
So there's a lot of things that we share this week, but I think the main thing that I finished was the Rick and Morty season 9, which dropped on
season 9.
Season 9, which dropped on HBO Max. I love it. This show is great. It's like very adventure of the week energy. And like a lot of their show, like a lot of their episodes, it feels very surface level, just kind of like very chaotic, like mindless. But there's always some like deeper meanings behind every episode that like really keeps you thinking. I mean, this season gave us some of the craziest episodes. They did like a Fern Gully ripoff where Rick and
Mm.
Morty go to this planet and they become like part of the ecosystem, and like they literally go through the stages of mutation. They start as like amoebas in the ocean, and they work through different levels, like being bees or they're like land animals, and it was just fucking crazy. It was just funny. It was just a really funny, good episode. A nice little callback to Fern Gully, but it worked. It worked in the craziness of this show. There's one episode where they send the kids to like a like a summer camp for kids who are spoiled, who don't know what to do with their kids, and like the campers take over and they're like killing people, and then the parents actually go off and they find their daughter's weed and they smoke. They get, or not even their weeds. They do some of her drugs, her like hidden space alien drugs that Rick has helped her collect over the years, and like they smoke this one thing that's called High Forever. So the three of them, the parents and Rick get high, and then the kids have to like save themselves. So it kind of becomes like this whole, and it's funny because like this weird, crazy, chaotic shit, and it's like they try to incorporate these messages within them, and to me, it works. This show, it just works. I don't know why I love this show, but I just fucking do. Like it's just, I don't know. I think it's great. Even now, I mean, there were some with Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland. They originally started the show, but they are no longer voicing Rick and Morty. They've moved on, especially with Justin Roiland. There were some issues a couple years ago, so that he was actually removed from the series. So then they recast his voice. But to me, the show still stands. I mean, 9 seasons later, and this show still works.
It's crazy it's been on for that long. And it's also crazy that in the 9th season, it's still bringing out hits.
And they have like other spinoffs. They've done Solar Opposites, which is not directly connected to Rick and Morty, but they have President Curtis, which is Keith David's character in Rick and Morty. I haven't watched it, which I probably will at some point, but he has his own series as well called President Curtis, which I'm very interested in kind of checking out. But yeah, I mean, this is one I can go. This is one that even now, like I just finished watching the 9th season, and I feel like I can go back and rewatch the whole season all over again, just to like laugh. I don't know, just to put it on. It's something that I would definitely put on again in the background.
Yeah, you already know my feelings toward Rick and Morty. It's a barrier to entry here. I just can't get myself to kind of sit down and enjoy it as much as everybody else seems to believe that I would enjoy this show.
You might not. But you don't really like adult animation, so I like
not like that. Not like that. It just feels like it's a hard barrier to entry for me. But there was one show we had talked about that there's a few maybe it's adult comedies, like maybe not adult animated shows, but like the harsh, crude comedies like that. Like I never got into Big Mouth. I never got into Rick and Morty. There's a bunch of these other shows that is animated and it's just like crude adult humor that just doesn't jive with me. But then there's a show like Devil May Cry, and I'm like, hell yeah, that's badass. That's different.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's more of I would say that it's more of the crude humor that doesn't just vibe with you.
Yeah, it just, to me, it's not funny. It's not funny to me at all. And I feel like that even though what Rick and Morty is doing on a sci-fi level of just like going to different worlds and exploring and doing like these creative meta comedy bits and like some life lessons that are kind of imbued into that, some hidden messages in your stories. Like, I feel like that's all great. But then you have like some of these weird shit. And I was like, I don't know, there's some of this weird shit I can't handle, man. It's just too weird. Like there was another show, I think there's another show on Netflix called Mating Season. And it was all about these like, I saw the trailer for it. And it's all about animals fucking.
Oh, I think I did see that. It's like the same creators as Big Mouth.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
they're
watch
like,
that one either. I'm not into that one.
yeah, it's all like these forest animals, and it's mating season, and they just gotta fuck, and so now they're just fucking everything, and it's like, all right, I get the bit, but I'm good. I don't need to.
I don't need to
I don't
watch a
need to
whole
watch.
season
I don't.
of cartoon animals fucking.
Yes, I get the idea. I get the idea. But yeah, that's not type of the material that I don't got time for that.
I don't got time for that. Well,
But
I
I
have
do
time
feel
for
like
this.
I feel like if there was any show that I would try again is probably Rick and Morty. The fact that it's been going on for this long, clearly there's a fan base. Um, but yeah, it's because also you have like the classics like Family Guy and Simpsons.
Yes,
They're not as crude as this, but they kind of paved the way for other shows like Rick and Morty and Big Mouth and all that stuff to kind of take shape and form and like, oh, there's an audience for this type of content. Let's continue down that adult crude humor animated shows.
and there's
And I feel like
definitely an audience for it because
Yeah.
Simpsons is still going on, Family Guy is still going on, even South Park as well is still going on.
That's a great example. I feel like South Park is now very political in a hilarious way.
Yeah.
There's a few episodes recently that it got so much attention. I was like, all right, I gotta watch it. I gotta see what's going on. And I think it was the newest season, the premiere. I think we might have talked about it. I'm not sure, but I remember that was getting a lot of attention, and I had watched it, and I was like, okay, I can see why. Especially when like Jesus came down, they were telling the people of South Park, like, shut the fuck up, shut up.
I remember us talking about it, but I don't remember. And I've watched them because they now like they do like little mini seasons, and then they have like these specials that they've been releasing like every now and then.
Yeah, it's definitely obviously commenting on the time. And I feel like in some cases there is crude humor, but there's definitely a point they're making. And sometimes they're just like, I can't stand South Park, but there are a few episodes where it's like, okay, I see what you're doing here, and it's funny. Like, I get it. But yeah, I feel like that's just slightly a different because like Simpsons and Family Guy ain't doing that. They ain't trying to make political stance here.
No.
But either way, like obviously there is an audience for it. And I mean, you can't knock 9 seasons.
Very true.
Yeah, it's a good for them to keep kicking and just so keep producing great content too.
But other than that, the stuff that we're sharing, that's all I got.
Okay, all right. So what's the first thing we have on the docket here? I don't know.
You want to talk about your Odyssey experience?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. So I had the privilege to rewatch the Odyssey in IMAX 70 millimeter, and I am here to say that the hype is real and the hype is worth it. It is so good of an experience. As soon as I finished watching, I was like, I wish I could see more movies like this. Granted, now this was obviously the whole movie was filmed for IMAX 70 millimeters, so there wasn't the aspect ratio changing at all throughout the film. But the theater is massive. Like everything just felt immersive. I felt like I was in the movie. To me, it was such a great experience, and I think it was very much worth all of the hype. My theater was packed. Like, I mean, every theater has been packed. There's no assigned seatings. So, like, I got there. I took the Bright Line from Orlando to get to Fort Lauderdale, and it's about a 7-minute walk from the Bright Line station over to the Art and Science Museum, where the IMAX theater is located. So after a short walk, and it was funny because I got to the train station in Fort Lauderdale, and I got there like at about 9 o'clock or so, and then I read. I was like, oh, like how early do I need to be there? Because it was like a 10:15 showing. And then I went online. They're like, oh yeah, you should probably get there like 90 minutes before the movie started. Like 90 minutes. I was like, oh shit, all right, I guess I better start walking. I walk over there. Sure as shit, there's a line.
Already. Wow.
Already. And so I probably waited in about 45 minutes in the line before they started letting people in, which is about 10 o'clock for a 10:15 showing. And they also had a special ticket, which it was already sold out by the time I got to it, of like you can spend an extra like $10 to be the first people in the theater. So the theater holds about little over 250, and they sold 100 of those tickets. So you can basically spend an extra $10 to be the first 100 people to enter the theater, so you can have a good seat. So now I'm already at a disadvantage Because
Yeah.
now I got 100 people already in the theater before me, and then they opened up the theater, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm not going to get a good seat," because everyone's like rushing to trying to get a seat. Luckily, it was just me, so they had like one seat up on the top row that I was able to get. That was kind of center. So like, all right, so I got my seat. And I'm literally sitting there, and you can see in the photos here. And that's on a wide angle too. Like I don't think I even got the full screen. Like I'm trying over here. I don't think I got it. But yeah, I'm just like sitting back here. I was like, oh boy, here we go. Like we're cooking now. It was awesome. I can definitely see why people want to see a movie this way. It definitely felt like the effort that Nolan and his team went through to make it an IMAX 70 millimeter. We also, like I mentioned earlier, got a preview of Dune Part 3 for that, and I was like, damn, I got to see this movie right back in this seat because this
Ooh.
was really, really, really awesome. And then I think also this was now my second time watching The Odyssey, and I think I liked the way that I had watched it because we had, as per usual, saw the movie for the first time. There was a couple things I didn't understand. Did some research. We recorded the episode on the podcast, and then after that record, I went to go back and rewatch it. I feel like I was able to appreciate not only the story yet again, but then the format in which it was intended. And I feel like if I had watched it the first time, then I feel like I wouldn't have gotten all of that. I think I would have been focusing on the story and less being amazed by the technical aspect of it all. But
That
because I had already seen it and I had, getting a better understanding of it, and then now watching the movie again, I was like, oh shit, I'm an idiot. Of course they meant that. They said it right there from the beginning. Like there's a couple of things that you just catch off of a second viewing. And then I was not only able to appreciate the story more, I was able to also appreciate the format in which I'm watching it.
So my question to you is: do you feel what do you feel like you appreciated more after we had our conversation and did our review for the movie? Anything that, like, from our review that we talked about that you were able to catch and kind of appreciate more, or just like what were your general thoughts on your second viewing? Like anything
I think
specifically you can remember?
Yeah, I think the whole I think more importantly the story structure I was able to understand a lot more clearly now, just because like I just have more context of what we were doing.
Mm.
Like the journey that he was going through, a little bit more of the timeline was a little bit more concrete. Some of the things they had teased from the beginning of the movie, where like for example, Tom Holland said at the very beginning to like the beggars or the one of Robert Pattinson's like men that was surrounding him, like they were letting like a beggar in. He's like, you never know if it could be a god in disguise. Like it might strike you. And I was like, shit, that right there, one of the first lines of the movie, like already foreshadowed that guy's gonna die immediately because he didn't respect the beggar that was going in. So like that was already in the works there. And I feel like there were just some smaller details that they were already like teasing that were in the beginning of the movie that I was able to catch the second time. And again, for me, it was a story structure. I was just trying to understand, the path in which this, like, and also what was going on for most of the time, especially with the Calypso and what Tom Holland was doing, because I didn't quite fully grasp like him leaving and what he was trying to do on a first viewing. But I think all that became much more clearer on a second viewing. I think that was the main thing of me just understanding the story more and getting a better appreciation for the story and the story in which it was intended to be like told, I guess. Like from like Christopher Nolan's like jumbled up jigsaw puzzle of a story, and the way that he like presents it was definitely a clearer picture on a second viewing.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm excited whenever this comes home and I can re-enjoy it for the next time.
Yeah, do it on your phone as Nolan intended.
As Nolan intended. In the middle of the day with all the lights on.
Yeah. Watching it and on your phone, like, yeah. Even just very quickly, just talking about the Odyssey and its box office run, it's still doing incredibly well. I mean, it's only second to Spider-Man, but it was number one this whole time. It has now grossed $1.2 billion worldwide now, And it had like a pretty it had a late release over in China, and it did incredibly well over there too. Let me see if I have the mark. Yeah, China, 35 million, which is not bad.
No.
Coming from China as well. But yeah, I know they were also pushing a lot of IMAX screenings. Like the fact that this is now Nolan's highest grossing movie, as well as IMAX's highest grossing movie, and it's doing incredibly well. I mean, 1.2 billion, nothing to scoff at somewhat of an original story. Granted, obviously the Odyssey is a 3,000-year-old story, but like from the mind of Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
I think if anything, this just proves of how much of a dominant filmmaker he is, because this is just on his name alone that people are going to watch it, and his dedication to the craft of why this movie has made $1.2 billion so far.
Yeah.
But also Tom Holland coming off of like the two movies you came out with this year within a month, not even 3 weeks of each other, 2 weeks of each other, has made over $2 billion and $1.2 billion. I mean,
is he going to be in Doomsday? Did we hear that?
No, I don't think Spider-Man's going to be in Doomsday. I think more people are speculating that he's going to be in Secret Wars than he is on Doomsday. Yeah.
But look at Zendaya, the Odyssey, Spider-Man, and Doom
the
Part
drama.
3. Oh, I'm
and Doom
sorry.
Part 3.
Excuse me, and Doom Part 3. Looking good.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Robert Pattinson as well. The
yeah,
drama.
Yep.
Doom Part 3 and the Odyssey. All three.
Yep. Yeah, they're killing it. Like they got the filmmakers on their side here, and they're picking their projects very well. And also we have Robert Pattinson starring in that what's that movie called?
Primetime.
Yeah, Primetime.
The Chris Hansen movie
coming out next month.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That's
so they're working.
Clear Oscar bait, but I don't care.
Yeah. But yeah, if you have a chance to see it, because I know they extended the IMAX 70mm screenings of the Odyssey through mid-September. They had to add more because of how popular it is. But it's warranted. It's there. This movie is an epic. And I think, and also just like even like some of the scenes that were in there, I was able to get more context out of, like even some of the fight scenes, like with the giants and stuff like that. Like the whole movie just feels like just upon a second viewing was a much clearer picture. And again, like seeing it in that format really makes a difference, in my opinion, of like just enhancing that experience. And it's only an enhance. Like the story is still the story. The movie's still good. Even if you see it in a regular theater, the movie's still great, obviously. But there is an enhancement there when you see it in IMAX 70mm. I'm not gonna lie about that. I was blown away by it. And then also again, seeing that tease for Doom Part 3, Ernesto, we might need to make a visit out there. I'm just saying.
Oh, I don't know. I'm here for that. Let's try to make that happen.
Yeah, we'll go back on the bright line. It'll be great.
And we will pay the extra $10 to get a good seat.
Yeah, seriously. Move aside, people.
Get out of the way. Ben's going to watch a movie.
Ben's just here. Move aside. We got center seats.
We'll wear shirts.
We'll wear shirts. What was also crazy was that I really wish they sold merch, because I'm in the theater, right? And it said the employees are wearing a shirt that says, "I saw the Odyssey and IMAX 70mm." And I was like, I want that shirt. That's a badass shirt. The movie was over. I went to go talk to them and I said, "Hey, is this your uniform or can I buy this somewhere?" And they said, "No, it's just our uniform." And I'm like, why? People, you're leaving money on the table.
Do you guys not like money? You just walk out.
You guys not like money. I'm over here. It's like, I'll buy that off of you.
Come on, give me a shirt.
You want to trade shirts?
You know you want to.
Look at this shirt. It's nice in one color. I think it's great.
Yeah. What are you, a large outfit?
I can squeeze into a large.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. I'll lose some weight. It'll be more of a motivator.
It's like you work out at the gym just staring at that shirt. It's like, I'm almost there.
I'm right there. I'm going to fit in that shirt. I'm going to wear the shit out of that shirt. 2 more push-ups. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
But yeah, I think they're leaving money on the table for not selling Odyssey IMAX merch. Just saying.
Totally agree.
Just saying. But yeah, Ernesto, we definitely got to make a trip out there. Your mind will be changed forever.
All right. I just got to find somebody to watch my 1,700 kids, and then we can make that trip out there. But we'll see. I would like to do this. Yeah, that's true. I could probably bring the older two. I took Edward to go see the Odyssey, so it's very. Yeah. Even though they don't really like Dune, but I bet if I told them, here, we're gonna go see it here and do this thing, and I want to go. Yeah, suddenly I have a feeling their tunes will change.
Yes. Or, they're old enough. They're like, hey, big kids, look after little kids. All right.
Yeah, goodbye. That's right. My oldest is driving. He could drop me off at the Brightline station. Technically. Yeah. That's crazy to think about.
Hey, wake up. We got to go. No, you're just dropping me off. You're not going with me. You got to watch after the kids.
Yeah, you got to watch them. You got to help out.
But yeah, it was a good experience. I'm not going to lie.
All right, cool. Well, I can't wait for Dune 3. Hopefully we can make that happen for us both to head out there. Let's move on. Let's talk about the final season of The Bear.
Yes.
I absolutely love this season. I felt like this was like kind of return to form as far as like interest. Like I like the final season as much as I like the first season. I just felt like there was just so much more, and we got some great character moments in the previous seasons, but I felt like they just did a really good job of wrapping it up and it not being this drawn out thing. Even as far as like, we didn't get a lot of different days of service in the restaurant itself. It kind of focused on this one night where everything is going on. And those who have worked in restaurants know like a rainy, stormy night is either going to be an absolute killer or it's going to be nothing. So it's just, I actually loved that dynamic of like them setting up of like shit going wrong in the kitchen. You got the power going out, you got the water leaking, you got different things being shut down, and then all surrounding the storm when they're supposed to, and it's like, it's literally the perfect storm. Like all the bad things that can happen will happen. And it was just like seeing them go through that and like seeing the aftermath of like how they wrapped everything up. I really love how they just kind of like wrapped it in a bow. In the very end, we have the family inside the bear celebrating Richie's daughter. I felt like it was a great way to honor Mikey, which is John Bernthal's character, of like bringing the whole family together through the restaurant that he created. We didn't get a lot of him this season. I felt like we didn't.
Not a lot of John Bernthal. No,
not a lot of John Bernthal. But I really loved that. Another moment I really enjoyed is when Richie is talking to Carmi outside, and he was just that he's telling him, he's like, you're not great at being in a team, and like you just use it as a distraction for things that are going on in your life. He's like you thinking about nothing is depressing. It's like this is like kind of giving him that realization that this is not what he wanted to do. And you can kind of even see it in the poster of him just kind of like everybody together, but yet he is alone, kind of like contemplating what the next phase of his life was going to be. I absolutely loved it. I love the way it wrapped up. The show, you can go back and rewatch the whole series, and it's kind of basically like this long ass movie. Like they didn't drag it out. It just kind of ended perfectly.
I think the first season was a little slow for me, but I think it had a good like grounded basis that what they were trying for. And then obviously it was like the first season ended with the beef closing so the bear can start, forming. And season 2 was the season. Like every episode had a purpose. We were building toward the grand opening of this new restaurant. And I feel like it was firing off on all cylinders. This was to me was the biggest change in character of the, obviously the characters we were introduced with in season 1. And then we were getting individual characters like Richie, and that Forks episode in season 2 was just amazing to see him just find his thing, his passion through the service industry. And then so you had that going for him. You had Marcus, who was, becoming the dessert connoisseur that he is. And then the other one, I think it was Tina, who was finding passion in cooking again. You have Sydney, who is trying to find her footing into this, who has a lot of this talent, and using Carmi as a mentor and trying to get this restaurant off the ground, finally doing it within the chaos of, opening the restaurant. Season 3 and 4 was kind of when a lot of people were like, the show had its high momentum and it's slowly going down, because I feel like that they weren't really having a focus or a drive anymore that I feel like the first 2 seasons had.
Mm.
And it's like season 3 definitely felt like things were a little kind of like a little random. Like we're following different characters, but it really has nothing to do with the restaurant, and they're more character driven stories. Still good if you're invested into the story, but you're kind of like, what's the purpose? And I feel like season 4, more specifically, also fell into that trap of like, we have these great character individual stories, but it has very little to do with the restaurant. And then to your point, now back to the final season, that just, we went back to season 2 vibes, where it's like every episode took place in one night, except for the last episode. It took place in one night on a time where we don't know what the future holds for this restaurant, based off of the end of season 2 or end of season 3 and 4, where they were trying to get a star, a Michelin star.
Mhm.
They were trying to get this restaurant afloat. Like that was the basis of 3 and 4. And then I loved how season 5 was just back to like, we're just trying to survive a night
Yeah.
of service. And to me, there was so much payoff by doing that. It drove stakes, it drove pressure, it drove energy. It's like, we're just trying to get through tonight. We have limited supplies. We we don't even know if this restaurant's going to be open tomorrow. We have people who are quitting, like Carmi. We're just trying to make this environment work, but we need to make it work just for one night, as if this was the last night we're ever going to have this restaurant open for business. And it was so emotional.
Mhm.
It was so impactful to see all these different emotions collectively come together. And when things weren't working out, you're like, oh no, like what are they going to do next? But then when they do work out, they took the moment to be like, here's everything that we've learned the last 4 seasons. Like, you got this. Like, follow your gut. You are meant to be this person that you are meant to be in this restaurant with this team. Even though like Carmi's leaving, Sydney, you're in charge. Richie, you're in charge. Let's assume our new roles. I'm not going to be here anymore. This isn't my passion. And then just seeing like, oh no, we can't make that dish for XYZ reason. Like, no, you can, because you're amazing at it. And just like following your passion, following your gut, and then just being in that environment. To me, not only if people who work in the service industry or people who work in the kitchen, for just people who have a passion for their job, and even within the midst of the chaos that can bring, if you love what you do, you're just working off that high. Like, man, this sucks right now, but that feeling that you get when it's all over, it makes a world of difference. And it was so emotional. Like that whole episode, I believe it was episode 9 or in episode 8. Like when I think it was episode 7 actually. It was like the whole service of the night when things were just getting ramped up. I was like an emotional wreck the entire time. I was like, God damn, this is so good right now.
But you bring up a good point. That night of service served as character growth for pretty much everybody in the show. You have Carmi, who's on the verge of leaving and kind of figuring out his place in life. And during service, we see him drop the plate and he's watching Sydney be the main chef. And there's this point where like you can see they were starting to yell at each other, but then Sydney just kind of course corrected and like, hey, like, let's figure out when she found out that Richie never canceled those reservations, I was like, wow. But I actually loved that moment because she was able to accept it, but she also like gave it to him like that's fucked up. Like, I gave you a direct order, you disobeyed me. And like we see that come back when Carmi's talking to her at the end of the night. He's like, if I was in charge, like tonight would not have gone smoothly. Like tonight was a very clear indicator that you need to be the captain of the ship. We have Tina who comes into the role as CDC, and like even her, like the aftermath, she was saying how crazy it was, but that she loved it. Like she loved that feeling of like everybody, and it's like everybody in that flow state of like when things are, you got a lot going on and you're just focusing on your piece, but you know that everybody else is on their shit. So then you have to, so it forces you to be a little bit more on your game. And then you start noticing that everything is just kind of flowing. Like everybody's on their A game. Even Fack, like when he had that moment in the dining room where he was talking to the guests and like he was really nervous. And then afterwards he's talking to Richie about how much he loved it. Or I'm sorry, I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who was a sommelier, like the guy who was going over the wine. Like he had his moment when he trying to serve them the wine and making sure he was giving them the right one. Like everybody had their moment to shine in specifically in that night, whether it was across the episode before, the episode after, or that episode itself, or even Carmi's sister, who was like the manager, like running everything. And her husband, like her trying to find her work-life balance, which leads to her husband showing up and helping, which he loved, and them setting up that little party thing outside. And before they went out, she went out and had a quickie with her husband in the back.
Even Sydney was. It was like she's like giving her that look, like, you good? She's like, oh yeah,
yes, chef. Yes, chef.
Yeah. I was like, no way.
It was a great moment.
She's like, what's going on? What's happening?
I even like realizing that when she had Donna, her mom, come to the restaurant, and this is the first time that she walked into the bar. And I didn't even realize that until like I think immediately after, because I think I want to say either the finale or it was one of the previous seasons where we had this moment where she walked up to the restaurant and like physically she just couldn't walk in. She just walked out. But
that was season 2. Yeah.
Of her, we get that moment of her walking in and like realizing everything and like going through Carmi's books and like everything that he did. Like we got the moment for Carmi's mom to appreciate all the work that he put into his life to build this thing, and seeing that this thing that her kids had built, like this is an extension of the good. As crazy as she was, this was an extension of the good that she put into them.
Well, I mean, that was also like growth for Jamie Lee Curtis's character as well.
Yeah.
From way back, I believe in season 2, where we get that Thanksgiving episode and things are just chaos, and like we see how their mother reacted to them and how much her character has growth, and also how much her kids have now, learned to grow and accept her, to bringing back her into their lives, and how hard it was for them to even do that. But then we also got like, and giving credit to some of those characters episodes that, people thought didn't have a purpose, but it paid off here.
Yeah.
It paid off to have these moments, because you have Carmi going to his mom's house to have an honest conversation and then cook her dinner for what seems like the first time. And then you also have, the daughter reaching out to the mother when she was pregnant and was going into labor because no one else was available. That's then them reconnecting in that moment too. Those two character moments, like individually, might have been the most exciting thing happening, but it served all that to serve when she walks into that restaurant, sees what they're doing, and then opens that book and see the career that her son has had. Like that's what that moment built toward. And I feel like now, seeing how this show ended, I feel like it elevates some of those moments that didn't feel like it was as big as, or has a drive as some of the other stuff that happened. And it feels like there was always some sort of a clear plan to get wrapped up into these characters' stories and their lives. And I don't know, like there was just something about like how they orchestrated this season that just fired on all cylinders on the build up to it, because everything was going wrong. It's like there was the storm, there was a flood, the roof caved in. It's like, we don't have the supplies we need. We have to change the menu. We don't even know if we're going to open. We don't know if anyone's even going to show up. And then it ended up being one of the busiest nights. Obviously Richie did not cancel any reservation. You also had, they setting up, like you said, they're setting up the party in the back to distract people from, not having to wait in line. Like the effort, all of the effort that they put into to make sure that everyone's having a good time and this is the place to be. And then after all of that, all the stresses, all of everything, they're like, all right, let's do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like that's the vibe. That's the vibe of the show. And I think they did an amazing job showcasing that, these people are worth being where they are at this moment, and like making sure everything is ready to go for the next day. And it's all about serving the customers and giving them great food. And it's not about, it's less about it is about the customer, but it's more about like that passion that you feel inside. And also I think it was hilarious that like, because of Richie is trying to serve and try to distract people, you have people going into the kitchen. He's like, now here's your VIP seat of how it works in the kitchen. And
I forgot about that. I love that shit. He's like chef, and they're like, God, I fucking hate that. It's so annoying. Like, please stop.
He's like, hey, how about you fold the napkins? Like, yes, chef. Yeah, I can do that, chef.
I would be
yes.
honored, chef.
I would be honored, chef. And then he's like going around and he's like, thank you. You can, don't do that. Like, they was like really like, hey. And then his wife's like, honey, you're making it worse. Like, stop what you're doing.
But you know what? Funny, like as they use that as a way to like fit people in, that it worked. It worked. How many people love a chef's table in the kitchen? Like you see that at different restaurants. So, I mean, it was great. It was great problems, like just critical thinking and problem solving all around. Everybody involved with whatever came up.
Also, again, talking about like these stakes that they presented of like, hey, we got to get people to a table, but we don't want to make it seem like them like Richie waiting for someone to leave.
Yes.
Like, come on, your food's ready. Let's go. And then like, hey, there's a party in the back. You want to check that out? Like, oh yeah, sure. And like you see like them like taking the person like, oh, we're gonna go the long way. Look at the restaurant. Look, here's the kitchen. Here's this or that. And then quickly people are getting up. The people are grabbing the dirty dishes and the silverware, replating everything, and then just perfectly timed to be in the seat as if it was intended and open the entire time, or even opening up like them like we have to put more tables and chairs inside the restaurant, and then quickly doing that and adding a ghost basically table, and then freaking out the kitchen, like what the hell is like 34B or something, and it's like, yeah, that's the new table. They're like, what? Like that's our new table. Like, all right, 34B, okay, here we go. And like it's just like that to your point that on the spot critical thinking, problem solving, just to get through the night. It was just so exciting to watch.
Additionally, because another part of that night was that they were assuming that they were going to get the review for their Michelin star. Mm-hmm. That's what one of the big push was that. Yes. They called them Starman. Starman was coming in, and it had to be perfect, and they did all these things to make sure it was perfect, only to find out later that he had come 2 weeks prior. That he didn't even come on that night. So he went on a night that it was for them, it was just regular service. And then what's interesting about that is that them not having that focus on it was able to earn them not only 1 star but 2 stars from that review.
Yeah, I remember because a lot of the previous season, either season 3 or 4, I don't remember, was all about trying to get that star. And then when they got the initial review, it wasn't like it met with like lukewarm. I think at the end of the season, they kind of ended with like Carmi reading not great reviews coming from the restaurant, like good reviews, but not like amazing reviews. And he's like, well, the mission for the star is over. And then for the season to kind of bring that up is like, we're not like, forget about the star. We're just trying to do a good restaurant. Only for them to then get 2 stars at the end of it. Again, it brought me to tears. Like it's something that I thought that we were forgetting. Like it didn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But then all that hard work and dedication paid off for them at the end of it. To me, again, this season was all about payoff from the previous 4 seasons and just watching them fire off on all cylinders. And no matter what obstacle that got thrown their way, they were able to overcome it and do it with, like, not only was it a healthy way for the service and the people that are eating at the restaurant, but also a healthy way in the kitchen that everyone's not hating themselves by the end of it. Yeah. We've seen experience in other kitchens as well throughout the series. To me, this was again a top tier. It's probably one of my favorite seasons of the show.
Yeah,
this is probably going to be up there for one of the best of TV for me this year.
I agree. Totally agree. I mean,
I think I was totally kind of put off guard because the last two seasons, like, oh, it's okay, and like, oh, let's see how they wrap it up. I wasn't expected to be this invested into this. I was like, next, yep, next, another,
Yeah,
thank you,
I burned through this last season.
yeah, I did the same. But yeah, one hell of a season from the Bear to kind of end on. Did you end up seeing that 1 hour special with John Berthal and
No.
yeah, I think it's called Gary. Um, it's an hour-long special. It just follows them on a road trip between Richie and John Bernthal's character. You should definitely give it a look. It took place like right before. Well, it was a flashback, obviously, because it told that story, but it looks like it was like a flashback that Richie was remembering that took place like right at the beginning of season 5. But definitely check it out. It's another character story. It's not pushing the boundaries on anything, but just give more context for the relationship that Richie and that he had with his brother.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, amazing stuff from the Bear. Sad to see the show go, but I think it ended on a high note.
Totally. Completely agree. And I think finally, we're going to talk about X-Men 97 Season 2. All right, so good. What were your thoughts?
I think it was a solid season.
Yeah.
I don't think I enjoyed it as much as season 1 from what I remember. But I think overall, we had some good episodes. We had some random episodes. I don't think everything always landed, but I was here for it at the end of the day. Like,
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think overall it was good, but it felt a little rushed. I felt like we hit like really big storylines, like arcs within the X-Men universe that were just kind of like thrown in there. Like we had like the Days of Future Past with them going into the future, and then that was just kind of like randomly in there. And like and maybe I needed to rewatch season 1 to get into it, but like we just appeared in ancient Egypt where Apocalypse was. Like I feel like maybe that was in the first season. Maybe it was. Maybe I just forgot. Like there's just I feel like there's just so much. And maybe this is just with X-Men in general. There's just so much context that you need beforehand that it feels like like when you watch it, I felt like I was missing something. But I will say the whole Magneto in the like with Apocalypse as the him coming into being Apocalypse and them trying to like alter his future for him to be a good mutant. I thought solid 2-episode arc. Ending with Magneto's death at the end was fucking great. Like I just like heartbreaking, like just well earned at the very end of him watching him die. Like that shit was rough to watch. It was really hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, also to see like Magneto die as the hero of like still fighting his cause and still making a stand, but also like recognizing that Professor X, Charles Xavier, is still my brother amidst all of this, and he's changed throughout from season 1 to season 2. And also, just so as far as from what you remember, at the end of season 1 they were trying to stop some sort of catastrophe that was happening on Earth in the 90s. And then as they were just finishing up saving the day, all the X-Men just got sucked out of time and got put into 2 different factions.
That's right.
Which we later find out that like part of the X-Men went to the future and part of the X-Men went to the past. And it was the effort of what we later find out, I believe in episode 3, from a character I don't remember, but it was an effort from that character to be like, we put the X-Men at 2 points in history where like Apocalypse is at his strongest and I think Apocalypse at his weakest, and trying to like kill him off at 2 different points of his time to kind of defeat him in some way, shape, or form, because I guess they couldn't do it in their present day. A little bit confusing, but
it was
whatever.
Fun. Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun.
But I will say, like, it started a little shaky, but I felt like it ended really strong with the Gambit arc at the very end, and having Nightcrawler be making the sacrifice so that everybody can move on. I actually really for me, this gave me a deeper appreciation for Nightcrawler as a character.
100%.
Like even so much as now I'm going back and just, kind of gearing up for whatever the X-Men movie is going to be. Just going back and like diving into the X-Men comics and kind of following along. And I'm really interested in Nightcrawler as a character. So that's just kind of like where at least this show has given me that journey.
Yeah, I love the ending. I just feel like that the whole Gambit arc, like you kind of mentioned before, it was like so quick.
Yeah,
like
it also
he came
undercut. It also was undercut because we dealt so heavily with his death in the beginning, and it was such a major, actually like the pinnacle of season 1 of him, his death and his sacrifice. Only for him, I liked it. I thought it was good, like the way they brought him back, but it was like, okay, so his death didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of. I mean, it was definitely a through line for even this season. And I feel like everyone's coming back at some point. We're playing with time here.
It's comic books. Nobody stays dead forever.
Exactly. I just didn't fully understand because all of a sudden we have this Apocalypse character that's a force to be reckoned with. He kills Magneto, cannot be stopped. He's telling you that, he always wins. And then when they're looking for him, they find his bones. And he somehow got into a dead Gambit?
Well, that was a trick. That was a trick. Clearly, he inserted himself. You see, what I gather from that is that he eliminated his physical form so that he can merge into Gambit. Because Apocalypse essentially was Gambit. Like he went into Gambit. We even get like at the very end where like it's kind of like a mix of both of their costumes. It's kind of cool.
Right. Okay, that makes more sense, I guess. But also, was this another way for him to trick the X-Men to destroy them?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Or take over them or whatever. Also, I just find it weird that I know they were playing with it, but like they're like, we have to get the X-Men and look to the camera back to the 90s. Or like, oh, okay.
We must get them at their weakest in the 1990s.
Yeah. I was like, all right.
Okay.
It feels so cartoony. Like it feels so unnecessary. I know it's a cartoon. Okay. I get it. I wouldn't say this is necessarily made for kids, but that sort of dialogue makes me question it. It's like, we have to get the X-Men back to the 90s. Like,
okay.
What? Okay. All right. I get it. The show's called X-Men 97. All right, I understand. But there was, and the first season played off this way as well. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
In any given episode. And I feel like it just also feels like it wasn't always consistent because you had like the first 4 episodes of like this Apocalypse storyline where the first 2 is focusing on the future. The next 2 are focusing on the past. We see the death of Magneto and you're like, shit, like, this Apocalypse guy, there's no joke. And then all of a sudden we take a pause because Wolverine wants to get his claws back.
Yeah, which is another big storyline of him.
Yes.
After Magneto rips the adamantium out of him and that journey to like have it come back. Like that's another big storyline that they just kind of like, oh yeah, here's a 1 episode arc on that.
Yeah, I just feel like it just didn't, like it was so oddly placed because I'm already like damn, Magneto just died. What's next? Never. This Wolverine has a story. He got to get his metal claws back. we gotta go and talk to these guys, which was very much like a parody to like Alien and The Thing. It's like very horror centric. It looked cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like the whatever alien thing that took over Wolverine, that was pretty badass. So like it all made sense. It just felt random. Like it didn't feel like we needed it to be right there. But I guess it serviced something for the story. But outside that 1 episode, we really didn't give a shit about Wolverine after that.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, I'm back now. Hey, bub.
Yeah, hey, bub. I got my claws back. Thanks. But also I think like the Nightcrawler focused episode had more purpose for the overall story, especially now that he sacrificed himself. Like when he was basically trying to convince Colossus to not kill his brother, Creed, who was running for president. Like that was a nice, like moral dilemma storyline that I enjoyed watching, where I feel like the Wolverine episode was just so he can get his claws back. That's it. That's all it needed to be. That was all it was. I'm not saying that those episodes aren't warranted, but it's just odd timing to come immediately after the death of like a big character like that. So I don't know. I think overall, like, I just feel like this wasn't as cohesive and didn't have those like, oh shit, like moments that I feel like the first season had. But don't get me wrong, that Magneto scene and that episode was very, very strong.
Yeah.
Like what I do give this show credit for is just kind of not afraid to take risks and to kill off characters like they did with Gambit last season as well. And now we have Magneto gone, and like mutants are dropping like flies here. Like they're not afraid of just killing off people. And now we have Nightcrawler making that sacrifice. To your point, I don't know if that means anything if in season 3 we're just gonna bring him back.
Which he might. There's a good possibility. He's a main character. There's a good possibility he's coming back.
yeah, fair enough. But also but his sentiment of death is like, how do you know? Like even like the last line, how do you know that your life, like, well, how do you know that your death would cause so much life? And he goes, because I have faith. And then he just fades to white, and the episode's over. And you're like, damn, I want to be like Nightcrawler.
It's like, fuck, I wish I was like Nightcrawler.
Yeah, damn.
But I think it's just so interesting that he's this person who has so much self-worth and so much love within him, but yet he looks like a fucking demon.
Yeah.
He literally looks like a demon. I don't know. I mean, it's just cool.
They're doing so much good work with the X-Men characters in X-Men 97. It just makes you wonder that if any of that is going to translate over to not only the X-Men show or movie that comes out in 2028, but also are we going to see any of these, this character development in Avengers Doomsday? I'm going to say no, because obviously Doomsday is the focus, like Doctor Doom is the focus here. But like, are you going to, within your 3-hour runtime, are you going to give us a reason to care about these X-Men that maybe or may not just be about to be dead? And from Doctor Doom.
My feeling is that it's going to be, I feel like we're going to get some love on the Fox X-Men, because this is going to be like, I'm assuming their exits from the continuity, whether they get eliminated or Doctor Doom just obliterates them, or whatever whatever the case is going to be, or how they're going to relate to the new X-Men, whether like, what if these new X-Men are just like younger versions of them,
right? And
they're going to die, so they like pass on knowledge to them. I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of curious to see what's going to come of that.
Yeah. I think if anything, it just showcases the show that they know how to treat maybe the X-Men and kind of get the vibe of their stories. At the very least, the creators of the show know how to handle the X-Men.
Yeah.
Totally. Whether or not everything fires on all cylinders, but there's still some really good stuff here. And like, you can tell that they're working as a team, and like, it's all working. And I don't know if when it comes to the movies, if they're taking any lessons from this, because they should, because like, this is like peak, like superhero, like vibe here, like, story of the week and big story arcs. Like, there's superheroes everywhere. They're just trying to make it work. Like, there's so much story to be told here from just the X-Men alone, clearly. And I just hope they're taking notes when they're trying to forge that into what the movies are going to have. But again, overall, another solid season. I think I like season 1 a little bit more, but it looks like that they're keeping on track, that we're getting a season a year. So season 3 is coming out in 2028 or 2027. Season 4 is already out for 2028. So we still got at least 2 more seasons of this show left, and I'm looking forward to it. It's like a nice binge for me.
Same.
But all right, I think that's all we've been watching, right?
Yeah, that's all we got.
All right, that's all we've been watching. So now, sure, another reminder.
That's fine. We'll just move on. What are we doing, man? Come on.
What are we doing? All right. All right, so that's all we've been watching. I had to go back and get that verbiage out again. That's all we've been watching. So now we're going to be moving over to our spoiler review of our movie of the week, which is The End of Oak Street. Again, written and directed by David Robert Mitchell, starring Anne Hathaway and Ian McGregor. Ernesto, start with you. Your thoughts on the end of Oak Street.
I thought the movie was good overall. Kind of fun, family, action adventure. With you got some exciting set pieces. With a surprising character arc for Ewan McGregor's character. Like I think overall I liked it. I thought it was fun. Kind of like it's a good popcorn movie. It felt like they tried to throw in some like deep storytelling within the family, which I think overall worked. But I think for me, what I wouldn't say it didn't sit well, but was kind of weird with me was like Ewan McGregor's death. Like to me, it was a genuine surprise, and like having the family accept his end, feeling the weight of his demise, and like us going through that. But I felt like them finding way through time travel and finding a way for him to come back, just kind of like it just undercut the death for me. And I get maybe they wanted the happier ending, but I don't know, the family like had already went through this acceptance, and so like we have this second chance version of him, but he doesn't have any of the character growth of the guy who sacrificed himself for his family, because they kind of portrayed him as like this coward, like, you know, kind of somebody who just like avoids conflict all the time. Like even with the neighbor, he's like, "Oh, I'll come over and help you." It's like shovel this mountain of shit that's in your backyard. It's like, why? We didn't do that. Why the fuck why do you have to do that? Like, why do you have to do that? And it's like at the end, they save him, but yet he's still this newer person, but he doesn't have the journey of the one who was eaten by the dinosaurs saving his family.
Yeah, you make a really good point with that sentiment, because like it just made it seem like that like almost Anne Hathaway obviously went through this journey with the kids, and I guess to get any solace, Anne Hathaway at least knows that they can get there. So
that's
like they did it once. They did it once already. We can do it again. We just have to be honest with ourselves. Granted, like whether it's her explaining to Ian McGregor the entire process that they went through, like clearly they had to have talked about it and explain some of it, because obviously toward the end of the movie there were dinosaurs roaming into their area, like in the present day, I guess. But yeah, I do agree with you though. It just felt a little like very much too much of a happy ending of like we went through this journey, and then but the husband didn't really, like, he's just delivering pizza, like he didn't go through all that, and then you have to explain all that to your husband, and then also in turn then fix your relationship on top of that. Like explain the horrific shit you just went through, maybe say that you died, and then saying that we saved you, and then like we're all better now.
And I think you brought up a good point. I think there is a sentiment where she's like, hey, all the shit we were arguing about, it doesn't matter. I literally watched you get eaten by a dinosaur. And it was a reminder of how much of the shit that we're arguing about, that we can find a way through it. And I get that, but I felt like his character, though, just the way that they portrayed him, that he needed, like, we need to see him have that growth. Like you set him up to be like this other person, and then now we just accept it. Like, oh, here's a reminder. Here's a picture of you standing in front of two dinosaurs fucking, which I thought was really funny. Like out of everything was really funny. They're like, oh, we gotta watch out for the dinosaurs. Like, what's that noise? And you look around, and the dinosaurs just, one of them's on the house, and the other one's just giving it to him, and then they take a picture. I thought, to me, that was like the funniest part of the movie. Like,
yeah. Honestly, even with the big pile of shit, I feel like it was very much an homage to Jurassic Park. A lot of this movie is.
Of course it is, yeah.
Yeah, but like, here's this big pile of shit, and then, I don't know, I feel like I was the only person that laughed in the theater. I think it was like a single, like that was me. But it was, it was when like, he said, yeah, you know what, we're going to help you clean this up, and my son will help you too. And then silence for like 2 seconds, he goes, what?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Or like, I thought it was really good with the like when they come back and they say they have their collection of people who they save, and like we have the neighbor who was an asshole, and all of a sudden he's like their best friend. And then maybe that's like a same thing with Ewan McGregor's death. Like, you learned about this thing that happened and what could have happened, and so now you're using that as your justification to be this new person. And
Yeah,
like it was kind of like the same thing with him.
it's weird because they established that they only had 20 minutes to get out of that bubble, basically. And it was more plausible for Anne Hathaway to call the pizza place that she knows where her husband was to make a delivery out here. I got that. That to me, that makes a lot of sense. There's no way she had time to call all of the other neighbors and for them to believe her and then them to get out in time. I just don't buy that.
Yeah.
I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way they all survived. It's like, oh yes, she called me that night and there was something about her voice that told me I should probably get out of here. And yeah, I didn't buy that for a second. I also had another problem with the movie. It's not the movie's fault. Again, it's more for me. And I have to also remember that this is a movie. This is made for entertainment. Like, and also I don't need everything to be explained.
I think I know where you're going, but go ahead.
However, like there is a suspension of disbelief. I understand that. But for some reason, and I don't know why, it just rubs me the wrong way that we got zero explanation on what happened. Not even a single notion of how or what happened. We have this magical floating ball of time that looks like it's just spotty in places and then it expands somehow because obviously things are getting transferred. Obviously there was a big burst that happened in their neighborhood. And then when they were in the past, it just randomly pops up out of nowhere. And then when they went through it finally, it just puts them back about 30 minutes before the event happened. Why? Because just because of the story allows them to do that. It just felt very random. And then the point of like, okay, sure, this time thing happened. The dinosaurs are now roaming this neighborhood. I can buy all that. I don't know, maybe just a little explanation of why that part happened. I can understand. I can put myself aside and be like, it's a movie, shit happens, just go with it. But there's also a part of me that's like, but you got to explain at least the mechanics of what this is.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the whole time travel stuff is just random. It's just random. Like somebody's controlling shit somewhere, but I guess I guess not. It's just like these are the forces that be, and we just have to accept it. Sure, but I don't know. I just feel like I want something a little bit more than that.
To be honest, it just felt very cheap. It felt like a cheap story device. Like we didn't get any explanation. Like this movie's only an hour 40. They could have spent 10 minutes, even 5 minutes to give a brief broad stroke explanation. Hey, we live in this neighborhood, but there's this lab that's like 3 miles down the road that's doing all kind of weird experiments, and one doctor just won a Nobel Peace Prize for time travel or time distortion or something. It could literally have been anything, and we could have never saw him. It could have just been a newspaper clipping. It could have been literally anything that goes, oh, well, that's why this is happening. But things happening, we're like, I don't know why. Although I do think the scene on the roof when the sun jumps into the bubble and the bubble goes away and he breaks his leg, that shit had me dying. That was so funny. Like that was just.
I don't think it was meant to be funny, but I also laughed.
No,
I also laughed.
It was definitely meant to be funny because he jumps, it goes away, he goes ah, and then he gets attacked by that dinosaur bird thing. Like it was just. Like to me, it was really good. It was just a really good like break from the tension of like building to the climax of what would be like the climax of this movie.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yes, I 100% agree with you that because even I think his reaction too, like he jumps, misses the timing of it all, and then he sits there and goes, ah! I was like, shit, this kid's an idiot.
Yes.
He also, running after his dog. I get it. I understand it. Man's best friend, but also, dude, stay the fuck in the house.
Like, what are you
Stay in
doing?
the fucking that. What are you doing?
There's literally dinosaurs out.
And then also the dog was a plot device in the sense of, yes, the dog, he was very attached to the dog, very worried about the dog, finds the dog, furthers the adventure forward of him getting out and creating more tension, and then couldn't find the dog, and then the dog just comes out of nowhere and kind of helps him out with that the bird dinosaur, pterodactyl, whatever, trying to eat him. And then it was just like, yeah, the dog's with us now. It's just like, I just feel like it was just very like, it serviced the story more than it was a character in the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it just this movie just seemed like a fun homage to Jurassic Park and like E.T. Like it's just kind of like action adventure. Like we gotta get to the thing. We're not gonna fully explain. And you had like the music in the back. There's a score in the background. Really, to me, just kind of like highlighted that. And we got our boy Michael Giacchino doing the score for this movie, which I thought was really well. It really worked. Not one of my favorites for him, but I think it was a strong score for the film.
Yeah, I think what was the most surprising thing about this movie that I also really enjoyed was that there is this undertone to it about a family dynamic.
Yeah.
You have a husband and wife who is on the brink of divorce. They're not happy. And I think they did a really good job of establishing that in the very beginning of the movie. I often talk about in some cases that the trailer already established that they're going to be, in most movies, there's a point, and I think we had the same conversation about Companion, where like we know she's a robot. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes believing she's not a robot. We know that the trailer already told us that. So don't make the audience think that who is she? Well, she's a robot. Like we don't make it a surprise in the movie. Similar to this, it's like we know those are dinosaurs outside. We know that they somehow went from a normal suburban neighborhood into a prehistoric one. We got there. It took us 30 minutes to get there to be like, what's outside? It's dinosaurs. We know. However, I think where the movie's job, if to the point that we're just waiting for this thing to happen, the movie's job from the beginning is either get there quickly or give us a reason to want to invest into these characters. And I think this movie did a really good job of giving us a reason to invest in these characters, because all of a sudden, like, oh, okay, this is more than just a random, like, time displacement Jurassic, prehistoric movie. Now we're getting into the understanding of what these characters are either fighting for or what they're losing. And like, we haven't established, so it's like, okay, here's kids being kids. They're just trying to, find their place in the world. There's also this couple who we have this father who is, you said, who's like very, what's the word you used?
Like he's somebody who avoids conflict, like very
there you go.
Maybe cowardly, I guess.
Cowardly, yes.
Is a good word.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good thing. And then you also have like his wife who is like writing a novel that, feels like she's out of place, not really, and like looking to maybe leave her whole family because she's not happy. I don't think that was ever the case, but that's the vibe that we were getting a little bit. And like she was also trying to find her own journey. And like I think it was a really good job of just getting the idea of where these characters stand before this random event happens. And now all that is thrown out the window, and we're just in pure survival mode at that point.
No, go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say, like, just kind of going off of your point, I agree. But did you feel like the bully scene was dumb and empty?
Yes. Yes.
Because in the beginning we get this whole build up. He's running away from this bully. He's like, "You broke my brother's arm," and then he's like trying to get him, and then he gets him, and then all of a sudden he's fighting him, and they tell him to stop, and he just like, okay, he just stops and walks away.
Yeah.
Like what would have been more impactful is if we had seen that bully get eaten by a dinosaur, and then when they go back in time, he chooses to save him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because for all we know, that bully they still took him.
No, I know, but like literally, he's fighting him. He's like, "Oh, you broke my brother's arm. I'm gonna get you." And then they're fighting, and then like, correct me if I'm wrong, but he just like stops. He's just like I guess snaps into like what's happening around him. He's like,
well, his brother, who the one who got his arm broken, was telling him to stop.
I know.
And then I think at that point, then I don't disagree with you, because then it felt like he just came up to the realization that's like, oh shit, I shouldn't be even doing this. We got dinosaurs running around. Okay, bye. It definitely felt like, to your point, it was an empty it didn't go anywhere. Like it served a purpose before they got transported of like a kid doing stupid shit. We saw the neighbor girl, the new girl, the new to the neighborhood, see him hiding. So there's a little bit of a connection there, but also at the end of the day, you take that part out, it serves nothing for the story.
Totally.
It just gives more context that like still stupid shit's happening. Like even though we're in this prehistoric world, this older brother still got a grudge on this kid for breaking his brother's arm. For all we know, they could have lost their family already. Their mom and dad could have been gone, and they're just roaming the streets.
Yeah.
So like that built up anger that he just had. He's like, oh fuck this kid, and you're still alive. Fuck you, and then just keeps beating him up. I don't know. And then he realized like, hey, what the hell am I doing? Let's get the fuck out of here. And then we never see him again. So. Yeah, and then like even with like the new girl in town, her losing her parents, I do part of me, and then kind of echoing what you already said. There's also part of me that's like the deaths in this movie was just immediately undercut. Either the sacrifices that were made, the like the character growth, like you said, were immediately undercut by them going back, like them going through the portal and going back into a few minutes before that a big event happened for them to start saving people. Because even now the young girl like went through this whole traumatic experience watching most likely her parents die.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we're just to pretend that everything is good and normal again. And then also there's no, like at the very end of the movie, there's no even alluding to the fact that this is happening again. Like, cause then like we just flash forward to like, it's been 1 year, it's been the 1 year anniversary of this horrific event. And then like, you know, dinosaurs came to us, and you know, they whoever went over and tried to mitigate and try to capture all these dinosaurs from this random event. And then we just see them being a nice big happy family, making, you know, friends with the neighbor. She's writing a book now. Everybody seems to be getting their own place. She's got into Cornell because she's wearing the sweatshirt. So it's like, it just feels like very much too much of a happy ending. But not everyone like went through that experience. Like you were able to save your loved ones because you just so happened to be back into 20 minutes before this happened. And I don't think there's much payoff from that either.
Yeah. So, and it did, I might be wrong, but at the very end, when they're all like, I think they're on the back patio or something, was there two of the neighbor girls? Like, did she save the other version of herself? Maybe. Because you remember they were, she was together with the girl from Cornell. And then I could have sworn I saw another version of her walk up into the group.
There were two young girls there. You actually make a really good point. Does she save herself?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up because I watched the movie and I was like, did the other one not go back? So does that one not exist? Like, how does that work? Like,
yeah, it's to your point. Like, do you save your mom and dad? But then like, no, you gotta go. Future me has to go. But also like, what you should now you're dealing with shit I don't understand, because if they only saved the father, that means that the other versions of themselves went back into prehistoric times. So this also alluding that they would have survived without their dad being there.
I don't know, because they changed history. They changed what actually happened because
now they're going through that whole horrific experience without their father. So that you make an excellent point. What happens from there?
So yes, at the end of Oak Street, there are two versions of the neighbor girl, Jeanette. One Jeanette is the version who went through the prehistoric ordeal with the Platt family, survived, and jumped back through the wormhole. The other is the original 1982 version who was warned in time by the first Jeanette and never experienced the dinosaur event. In the epilogue barbecue scene 2 years later, both versions of her appear together with her parents. The film shows this pretty clearly as a deliberate time travel consequence rather than a mistake.
Wow. That went completely over my head. Yeah. I feel like that's a big part of that story.
Yeah, they kind of just gloss over. And there's a bunch of different websites that talk about this. But yeah, I thought that's what happened. I was like, is there two versions? Because there's one, and they kind of had like this storyline that was happening with her that they never talked about. Like this whole love story where the brother liked her, but really it was the sister and her that kind of had a thing for each other.
Yes.
Which they never talked about, but they alluded to during the entire time. And even during the end of the movie, like her
they were
and the
holding
neighbor,
hands.
yeah, they were holding hands. And then the only reason I picked up on it is because I saw the other version of her come up and hang out with the brother. It's like, so do both versions of Jeanette want the sister, or is one a lesbian and one is straight? I mean, I don't care, but it's just like you're throwing things and now you're making me ask questions.
So you make a really good point, because when I saw that, I was like, oh, maybe, okay, we didn't really talk about this at all in the movie, but I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is, because again, it was like from a viewpoint of like a window that we saw them like in the backyard. So I'm thinking one of two things. One, maybe that's her sister that we never met. Maybe she had a sister. Or two, maybe this was a girlfriend that she met in college, but I didn't even register that could have been the same person. So now that it is, and we got that confirmed, what the fuck, movie? We're just going to brush over that? Are you kidding me right now?
Could have given us 2 minutes to talk about that. No? Okay, goodbye. End of movie.
That to me is wild. That changes a little bit of this movie, to be honest with you. And then again, if you take the father out of the equation because you decide to save him, you are alluding to the fact that one of two things happened. That the version that went back into the past died in the past, or they had to have found a way to come back without the father and to complete the loop.
Yeah, this is just like one of those time travel things that like, because now the ones who went back didn't have that experience, so that's not the same group that jumped through the wormhole. So does that group jump through the wormhole? Do they not? Did they end? If they saved this version of Jeanette, did they save the other versions? Are there another version of themselves still living out in this world?
Yeah, you're right. Because if Jeanette never went through, how is that version of Jeanette even possible?
Exactly.
Because the Jeanette saved the old Jeanette. And so the Jeanette never went through the thing. And therefore the new Jeanette should not be the old Jeanette. And then you're just kind of going in a circle and trying to understand this whole loop situation. I'm not sure if this helped me enjoy this movie more or less. But
logically, what should have happened is everybody who went through, they should have let them go through.
Yes.
And like just accepted their husband's death, and like it could have been like a bittersweet ending.
I think that's honestly a better sentiment. It's like, hey, we got here just in time. It's like, we got to warn all these people. And then even Anne Hathaway is like, there's no time to do that. There's no time to warn everybody that we have to get out of there. And then to your point, just kind of accept the fact that like you were able to get out, but there's still, this still thing is going to happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then you see like the whole thing like happen. And then to me, I thought they were going to end with like, shit, I just got out of this dangerous situation, but not even to think about like, yeah, on the flip side, now there's dinosaurs in your own world now, in present day. And that's something else you got to deal with. And I thought the movie was going to end there. It's like, oh shit, I just left one bad situation. Here's another one. But then they're like, 2 years later, we figured it out. You're like, okay, you contained maybe the dinosaurs, but still unexplained of how all of this happened. Which is fine. I don't need an explanation, but I think it would very much help tell the story a little bit better. But yeah, I think overall, again, it's not a bad movie. I mean, even talking about what the Rotten Tomato score gave it, which is honestly surprising. Like, this is easily a movie that they can like pick apart, but instead they gave it the audience. Come on. The audience gave this movie. Sorry, the critics gave this movie an 85%. And the audience gave this movie a 78%. And for me, I think that is generous.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is it's a fun popcorn, turn your brain off, just have a good time movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think the problem is that we're wanting more from the plot than what they originally intended.
And you're absolutely right. Even looking at the critics' consensus here, it says tapping into the primal pleasures of the classic creature feature, the end of Oak Street, is a pulpy, good fun carried off with a light touch and a sharp bite. I mean, essentially, that's what it is. It's not trying to be anything more, I guess, meaningful or thought provoking. I mean, we kind of got that a little bit toward the beginning, where obviously we're establishing the family dynamic and how they've grown together. I will say I was shocked that Ian McGregor died.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. Like they went there. They committed to a death like that. After moments before they took a photo of him with behind him with the animal with the two dinosaurs fucking. Like it just undercut that moment. Like, oh, we think we're safe, but really you never know when you're not safe. And it was such a surprise part of that movie that I was like, okay, all right, we're doing something here and we're still trying to survive. This is part of the survival game you got going on here. There's going to be sacrifices and not everyone might make it out of there. But I don't know. I think it might have got undercut by the too good of a happy ending, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, as soon as they went back and you saw that they had time, I was like, they're gonna save the dad. I already knew that was gonna happen. But it was sad because, like, to me, if they had left him dead, the movie would actually sit higher for me because then it had real stakes and had real consequences that had to be dealt with afterwards, as opposed to like we're just gonna fix the thing, like the thing that made us sad, the thing that helped us grow. We don't have to deal with that thing anymore, which is
right.
I get it if anybody else is in that situation, but I don't know. I feel like the movie could have given us better stakes and the ending would have landed a little bit harder for me.
Yeah, they definitely went for the more happy ending, but also we got the happy ending with not much of an explanation of what exactly happened
at all. We got zero explanation. Why did the wormholes keep popping up back in the past? We didn't see any wormholes back in the future, or even like 2 years later. Oh, they figured out why the wormholes kept happening and they fixed it. Like none of that.
And also like it wasn't really a good time travel story either, because they could have easily have done the time travel tropes of, like, for example, maybe it could have cut to a scene where we see like Ian McGregor driving home and we see his phone go off and like he answers it. He's like, hello? Oh, one more delivery? Yeah, I can do that. But then never really like, and then all of a sudden toward the end of the movie, you realize that was her calling to make the delivery to get him out of there. But like, and you know what I mean? Like stuff to kind of tease, like unexplained things that happen in the beginning of the movie were then explained toward the end of the movie because it was themselves trying to warn everybody of trying to get out. And they could have played along with that just a little bit more if that was the angle that they were going with, to make the kind of close the loop of like, okay, these are the ramifications of time travel. But obviously they didn't go down that route. And so there was no alluding to any sort of time travel toward the beginning of the movie, that they were interacting with themselves or whatever the case. And clearly at the very end of the movie, they had no problem having two versions of the same person. It's like with Jeanette and the daughter, and just being two versions of her, unexplained. I think that honestly now frustrates me. Now that I think about it, frustrates me even more that they don't even bring it up. It was just like a thing that's there. Yeah. And they don't even make any explanation of like, there's two of you. I know. And like nothing. They would even acknowledge it.
Like them looking at each other's outfits or like pointing at each other, like literally anything.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, it was fine. But like the ride was okay. It's like it's a survival movie, so obviously the stakes are pretty much what you would expect. They're just trying not to die. I will give them credit because there was a unique feel to it.
Yeah.
Like the way that it was presented, the way that before we even got to the dinosaurs, they were still being hidden. Like when Ian McGregor was trying to figure out what was happening, he just knew something was like coming at him. And I feel like they were using a lot of practical effects, like very similar to Jurassic Park, where like the trees are moving, other props are moving around, like things are getting shuffled, but we just don't see the threat yet. But everything around it is building tension, especially when he's like walking through the fences and we see like the dinosaur going through all that, trying to chase him. We just don't see it yet. And then you get the big reveal of like, oh shit, here's a dinosaur. Now they're everywhere. And then we get more context of that. I kind of like that buildup, but I think overall it's that payoff that just doesn't always land for me.
I think you're right. I think what you're talking about, which one of the things I really enjoyed about the movie was actually the cinematography. Like there's quite a few scenes where like in the background you see in the background danger shots, like when they're in the neighborhood and you see the dinosaur kind of lurking around and the camera kind of pans around and you see the monster behind them, or when the son is in the bathroom and you see the snake kind of lurk into the window and kind of like go through the house. Like I loved that. I thought it was really great. It was a great way to build tension in these scenes. And
yeah, you made it really good.
Just that it kind of went back to what you were saying, like these going back to like Amblin films or going back to like Jurassic Park, and it just the way they paired it with the music, it just felt like it hit that nostalgia really, really hard. And like you see in the shots, like it was just longer takes, like more careful framing, brighter compositions. You could just tell the care they put into their framing and how this movie was dealt with the cinematography.
Yeah, actually, you bring up a really good point with the snake scene. The snake scene was really, really handled. Like it was done very well.
Yeah.
Of like him just going down, like we just see it. It was very quiet. They're just trying to they just finished. They just saw their dad die.
Yep.
And now they're going back home. They're packing up their shit, and then all of a sudden, again, you never know when the threat's always lurking. Just quietly goes into the room, and then just slithering down the stairs, passing by everybody, about to kill Anne Hathaway. The son's like, "What the fuck is this?" And then just stabs him with the bow and arrow, and then like all of a sudden, like it just ensues on that. Really great build up to that scene as well. And then also like you get a little bit of like at the very end when they're trying to escape and there's like no way out. Librarian comes out of nowhere with a shotgun, sacrifices herself, shoots one of the dinosaur alligator things anyway. And then there's like, thanks, lady, we gotta fucking go.
Bye.
Bye. But yeah, I think they did a really good job building that tension, and building some of these action sequences very well, and also getting the family dynamic on top of that as well. But at the end of the day, there's something unique about this movie, but also there's something off about this movie. And I just feel like sometimes they're just balancing back and forth where it just kind of just sits in the middle for me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But with that, let's quickly talk about the box office. This movie opened to number 3. And this movie had no match between the power of Spider-Man and the Odyssey. So this movie opened to about $21 million domestically, which I mean, comparatively is really not that bad. But it is sitting up against anywhere between, I would say roughly about an $80 million budget, which is somewhat of a high. It's a low number in movie stakes, but also like you got to make at least over 100 mil plus just to get. You got to make at least $200 million to make that back.
Yeah.
And with that, at the time of this recording, this movie has made $22.9 million domestically, $29.1 million internationally, with a grand total of $52 million worldwide. It's only been 1 week for this movie's release. It can maybe get more money, but at the end of the day, I don't see it making much more. You might be able to hit maybe another 30 mil and call it a day. You might be able to get back that 80 million, but I don't think we're making a profit at the end of this one. I think there's just so much hype around Spider-Man and the Odyssey, and there's not a lot of drive to go see a movie like this. And then as we even get closer, I think this coming week we have Insidious, which is a popular IP movie. I feel like that's also going to maybe open at number 2 because the Odyssey is kind of winding down a little bit for Insidious. But yeah, I think after the success of Spider-Man, there's no way this movie was going to make up that, as obviously not nearly as much as Spider-Man, but like kind of make big waves over in the box office.
Yeah, especially as we're in the tail end of the summer season, so it was a decent movie to kind of wrap up this season.
Sure, yeah. So with that, Ernesto, your final thoughts and 5-star rating.
All right, I thought it was a solid, entertaining ride. It kind of mixes that 80s family adventure energy with modern creature mayhem. You got the background creature shots, which I really enjoyed. I feel like there's a lot of strong nostalgia to those type of movies. I really liked Ewan McGregor's death. I feel like it was powerful, but the return kind of softened the blow a little bit. And it's like with the barbecue scene in the end, and him, just coming back and hearing about this person who he became in this other life, but to him, which feels like another person. So he came back, but he never actually faced his adversity.
Right.
So my takeaway question, if someone told you about a better version of yourself that existed in another timeline, or one who faced real adversity and rose to the occasion, would that knowledge change how you live, or would it feel like a story about a stranger? Because that was kind of that's kind of like my takeaway from this. I don't know, is he a better person? Or you're reading a story about somebody who you could have been. To you, it still doesn't feel like, to me, that would not feel like me because I hadn't lived those experiences as that person.
Yeah, there is an interesting story there that we will never get.
Yeah, that to me, that's the more interesting story. The movie could have started it at the end, and it could have been a character piece about what he went through.
Sure. That's a solid point. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we just have to believe that they were able to just figure it out because that's what the movie told us,
And as far as 5-star rating, I'll say 3 stars.
3. Okay.
I had a good time. It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, I was sitting anywhere between 3. I think when I walked out, I was like 3.5, and then I was like, as I thought about it more, a 3. Yeah, I'm fine with the 3.
Yeah, I was at a 2.5, and I worked myself up to a 3.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
interesting. So if you went with the initial 2.5, and I was more than 3.5, we're right back to 3, baby.
Right where we started.
Right where we started. But yeah, I think it's funny because I think I weighed myself down as we were having this conversation. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of things that were just fine about this movie. But I think there was some funness to this. There was some funness to it that, I don't think this was a complete waste of time.
Of course, yeah, I totally agree.
At the end of the day, obviously, it's also refreshing to see a dinosaur movie that's not Jurassic Park.
Yes.
And see a different take on that aspect. I would like a little bit more explanation of how we got here, but also I have to remember a movie's going to be a movie. Not everything needs to be explained. I'm trying to do better at that, just enjoying the fact, but there's also that part of me is 10 minutes would have been done just as much. No matter how cheesy it would have been. Of you got this crazy neighbor trying to figure out time travel. All of a sudden you go down, you see Doc Brown messing with shit. Even if that was the case, but I digress. It is what it is.
Yeah, something would have been better than what we got.
Nothing. Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. But yeah, 3 out of 5 stars for the end of Oak Street. I think it's a fair rating, to be honest. But there you go. That is our spoiler review on the end of Oak Street. And that is all the show we have for you guys this week. As always, you can follow us on our social media channels on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Box Office Bingers, our X and Letterboxd page at Box Office Binger, and our Threads and Instagram page at Box Office_Bingers. The fun doesn't stop here. It continues on all of our social media channels. So be sure to give each one of those a follow. We'll tell you what's new to streaming every Friday. We'll give you the box office numbers every Sunday. We can have all of our movie reviews on our Letterboxd page, and you can see our lovely faces in our short form videos on our Facebook, on our YouTube, on our TikTok, on our Instagram, on our Threads. It's all there. So we really appreciate if you give each one of those a follow. You're not going to regret kind of enjoying it on the fun. Next week, we are wrapping up with some of the summer offerings, and I think we're going to be talking about one more movie before we go into our summer blockbuster recap, or our summer box office recap, rather. Ernesto, tell the people what they can look forward to next week.
We're looking at Dominic Sessa's new movie, Tony. Sorry. It's a biopic, but it's not a biopic from what I hear. It seems like it's focusing on a certain point in Anthony Bourdain's life, kind of the earlier part of his career. I'm actually really excited for it. Antonio Banderas is in it. It's an A24 film, and Dominic Sessa's in it. He was, if you've never seen The Holdovers, which he was a fucking standout in. He's a fantastic actor, so I'm looking forward to whatever that he brought to this project.
Yeah, there was a lot of like that movie alone, The Holdovers, was just such a great standout performance from him. And we even said that whatever he comes up with next, we're going to be watching. And what an interesting next step for him is to now portray a young Anthony Bourdain. So I think we were talking about this movie for months now of like wanting to check it out. And so now we have that opportunity to do so as it comes out next week. So we're going to be talking about that. If there's any more news, we'll talk about it. If we can get there, I think we're probably going to be talking about the House of the Dragon season 3, as well as the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, kind of going over the whole Game of Thrones universe of this year and seeing how well that worked out. And there's a few surprises along the way of other things we'll be watching throughout the week. If there's any news, we'll talk about it there too. Just another standard episode for you guys. And then probably shortly after that episode, we're probably going to be diving into our summer box office recap, an episode we look forward to every year, of just kind of going over all the movies of the summer and which one came out on top and which one ended up a flop. So we'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening to us talk about movies. Really do appreciate it. Come back next week, more movie fun. For more movie fun, you're not going to regret it. And for that, I've been your host, Matt Diaz.
Been Ernesto Santos. See ya.